So the end of this week was a lot. Just a bunch of meta stuff with Reddit, which meant that a bunch of artists were kind of like
Yeah.
thrown thrown into other people's comics and stuff like that. So it was fun. But it was definitely one of those things where like no, there was no coordinated plan or anything like that. It's just one big artist decided to do something. So everyone
Oh,
else had to
cool.
respond to. Yeah. But it meant that the last like 2 days or so have been pretty uh nonstop working with a bunch of folks. So which is good.
Yeah.
It's always fun to collab.
Thank you,
I
Kinky.
hear
I got
that.
distracted by some other stuff in internal.
All good, man.
I was about to call you.
Oh, the emergency line, the red phone.
No, well, just through Discord, but still, hopefully, I was like worried that it was,
I have given certain people directions to, if I don't respond, actually call me.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, the chaos phone. We got to put like a phone here on the desk, and it's just
like a red and blue chaos phone.
exactly.
I'm gonna prompt that later.
Right. Uh, well, it's good to see Getters and of course Rhapsody, Scathia. It's good to see y'all. Celeste, good. It's it's always good to see the core folks coming in right at the beginning too. Rhapsody's been such a big help over on my Discord. I just every time she comes in, I appreciate it
I
so
know
much.
it. Good kid, that Rhapsody.
Hey, it's that troll for you. Hi, it's good to see you, bud. You certainly do your best. That is for sure. I can tell that you're always putting that effort out there, and that's awesome. It's definitely hard to keep up constantly though. So it's like be sure you take care of yourself though. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I troll for you is actually super interested in like the character like development, and, like actual like writing and development of characters and seeing how far we can get there. Like I'm really stoked about getting to 1,000 members on that Discord. It just means that we can do a lot more. I'll open up the forum stuff that you were talking about in the text chat when we reach that point. So we could like mess around with it and like test it and stuff and see what works, but like really do like we'll do a soft open probably quietly just to kind of make sure things work, and then do a proper 1000 member celebration post. Oh, hey Lizzie, good to see you. Thanks for coming. um but yeah, like we'll give it a couple more minutes to let some folks come in here. It is only 2 minutes past 4, so the yeah, right. And I'm stoked to get there for at least because like it just seems like such a solid benchmark to be able to go like, look, we got to 1,000, we can do 10,000 now. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
let's go. You gotta throw a freaking party. Yeah. Yeah, we should definitely do like a big voice chat party in there just so everyone gets a chance to come in and talk and stuff like that. That'd be really fun. Um, yeah, I'll do a little kazoo there too. Party poppers. Um, yes. Let's see here. I'm gonna make sure I got some of my programs open here. So I guess I'll give a little update to start. The so we had a comic come out just yesterday, um, and I there's a reason why I didn't post it on my Discord. Mostly because it's like entirely a Reddit meta thing. I honestly think that not everyone would be interested in what this is. They're already complaining about like what's happening right on Reddit, but I'm really proud of the actual like thing that I made with it though. So this nonsense of a GIF um is is me and my friend Fran, who Gnome is based off of. This is Gnome's first introduction to R Comics as as my like AI persona that I've made here, and it was it's got like 6,000 upvotes, and it's me entirely egging on what is happening inside of Reddit right now when it comes to all the silly meta comics talking about making comics. Like it's I'm a big fan of meta comics. I think they're really fun, especially for the artists. Like the artists really enjoy making them. But I'll tell you right now that the general audience is not a fan because they get really lost really easily, right? So but there's a lot going on in this comic on purpose. I wanted it to be like the equivalent to like bedazzle it. Like I literally have it glitter in the middle panel here because I'm like, bedazzle it. Just make it shiny so that people click the button. And and that's what they did. It's like at 6,000 upvotes or whatever. Yes, the swinging sensor bar. Yes, I that there's a whole meta element that involves this naked guy, Trey, on the water by Dave Contra, and it's a fun series. It's actually a really depressing series, but like for some reason it took off on the internet as being this thing that can be adapted and memed on or whatever. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking as an observer on that meta and going like, damn it, it's happening again. No. And the joke is that whenever it comes to me, like especially with the other artists and stuff, it's gonna like be known that I'm the AI guy. So like I had to be the guy who's saying that, who's the one controlling the tubes that are going to R Dash Comics here. So I'm definitely leaning in on my own presence on that subreddit. So we had a lot of fun with this one.
And Victor's pretty meta himself, right? Like, doesn't he refer to like society and pop culture and stuff like that?
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's a character that freely, at least for the folks that don't really know too much about like how I got started with AI comics specifically. Um, Victor was a doodle that I used to do in like high school and stuff on tests in middle school, like just middle school tests and stuff like that. And then he had developed into like this kind of like gothy Jonan Vasquez inspired antagonist character that I would draw, just begrudgingly on stuff. The equivalent to a middle school graffiti with a Sharpie, right? And I got better at art over time and I started doing different things, but I always kept Victor like nearby. And like he wasn't even named Victor until the AI stuff kind of came up because, well, I won't get into that too much. It's basically like, it's a much catchier name than my real name, so I started leading in on that. But the thing is that I ran that doodle through Midjourney and then it animated the living crap out of it, and I was like in love with what you're seeing. And at least the very first iteration of it was not nearly as refined as this, but it was a lot more fun to develop the character with AI. That's what I was so surprised about. Was like, oh my god, I can do so much stuff to explore the potentials.
I love it. I love the idea of it.
But in terms of answering your question though about the meta element to it, like I always wanted Victor to kind of be stuck in that Duck Amuck episode of Looney Tunes where where Daffy Duck is stuck, or sorry, he's in a fight with the animator and is incredibly frustrated that the animator keeps messing with him. Amazing episode. Yeah, but, amazing episode. I mean, it's just the entire thing is just great. It's not really an episode. It's just a standalone show, but it's still amazing. The I wanted Victor to be that, but the modern equivalent to that. So like dealing with web comics and modern entertainment. So yeah. Let's see here. We got that's not even your real name. Gnarly? You think my last name is Gnarly? Okay, look. I love the name Victor Gnarly a lot. I will not legally change my name to that. Keep in mind. I'm just Gnarly was what me and my buddies would say to each other all the damn time whenever we were like something was cool, right? It's like, oh man, that was gnarly. Oh yeah,
gnarly.
It's gnarly, bra. But we were not like we didn't have the bra element to it. We had the we were a bunch of like thrashy metalheads, right? So we were like, yeah, man, it's gnarly, it's brutal, that's brutal,
gnarly.
gnarly, bro. Like it was a little bit different than gnarly, bro. But yeah. Um, let's see here. Let's see, Rhapsody. I don't even know what it is with these arrows, but they are unbelievably satisfying for me to watch. Yes. If you're not familiar with Reddit at all, Reddit went through a big change when they're actually going through it right now too with the IPO, like they're or whatever. Like they basically they sold out, and by selling out, they have ads in places that people aren't used to and just other things. And one of the things is that everyone was forced onto the mobile app, right? So that means that everyone's like formats have now been forced to mobile. So the upvote and downvote buttons are in the bottom left corner of the screen whenever you're using the Reddit app. So what's exploding out of the bottom left corner there is literally where you have to click in order to interact with this comic. So
yeah, I don't like that. It's new and different, and I hate it.
Right. And oh wow, my model just broke. Look at this. My spine.
No.
But no, my spine. The thing is that like
chiropractor in the house.
Oh god. But the thing is that a lot of people are generally just kind of begrudgingly using Reddit at this point when it comes to especially creative folks. Like there's a lot of reasons why content aggregators don't really make, or at least are struggling when it comes to quality content nowadays. And so this is all kind of just the lashing out and expression of that. And you see that a lot with the meta folks, especially when it's like, okay, we're gonna try to stop this, and then someone ends up just egging it on even harder afterward. Anyway, I don't want to keep ranting on about Reddit. I just want to let you guys see what I was working on for the last 2 days or so. And this was a lot of fun because this was all, this is the first public exposure of Gnome specifically that's outside of our streams and stuff. And I got so much less like negativity that I would get with like any of Victor's stuff, because Victor is like almost always super overproduced. Like there's a lot of anime elements that you just don't really see in Western webcomics, and so having a cute gnome girl, you know what I mean, it's a bit more palatable for audiences. Let's see. Okay. The thing is that there's other comic artists that are in here too, but again, it's the meta thing. I don't really want to dig into all that, and they'll probably appreciate it more if I didn't. Character continuity and Victor Gnarly. Wow, nice. This was generated text, I would imagine. It really surprises me how well it does certain like typographic like decisions. Like there's some really fun lettering and stuff that you can do with ideogram. Ooh, I have to check that one out. But yeah, let's see here. I do have a character lined up, but I do want to open the black box today too, just because it's been a little bit since I really dug into there. But I do want to hear from you guys too. So the way that this works is if you look at the left side of Discord, there is a whole bunch of channels, right? Like it could be a lot if you're new here. A lot. Gotta love the way I speak. Anyway, the thing is that if you scroll down, you're going to find eventually under the generals, you'll see the stage here, which is where we're at right now. Above that, you have VC Create and VC Text. VC Text is where you guys can chat with me here and check out what we're doing. And then in VC Create is where we can prompt together. And I have both of those open side by side here, so it should be pretty easy for us to be interacting and hanging out and all that stuff. The every stream I want to kind of change it up a little bit, guys, because I know that we're quickly getting to the point where character continuity is becoming more of a like standard thing in terms of like just getting a response or just getting an image that we're expecting. But it will be interesting to kind of explore the limits of like how do we define a character, like how do we explore a specific kind of character or whatever. But I want to hear from you guys for sure. Um, so what is this? There's a class starting. Please don't spam this chat. Okay, yes, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. The when it comes to today though, I want to show you guys the character that I'm currently working on, and then we can kind of adapt it together a bit, just so that like because basically I'm about halfway through. I've gotten to the point where I got it reliable, but I really need to I really need to create action poses for the character next. So that's what I think we should focus on at the start of this, just so we can get the ball rolling here. And I see Legal Beagle had his current project. Let's see. The Ballad of Artie Washbuckle. Awesome. Awesome. I know you've been working on this for your D&D group with the whole like pirate thing going on. Like it's really cool to see like other people's worlds that they're developing, because they're making completely different decisions than I would make. And it's so cool to see. Like, yeah, it's really neat. I really do dig that. Um, the what's neat about his project in particular is just he's going for like a much stronger like amount of like realism than I would normally go with a lot of my stuff. So like it has its own unique challenges, I bet. And
I totally can't wait to see the Ballad of Artie Washbuckle.
Right, it looks really fun. I dig that for sure. And of course, you know, like Midjourney does like solid font decisions. It definitely feels like it almost feels like a playhouse, like a playbook on the top. I don't there's certain parts of it that remind me of a playbook a bit. I haven't even noticed any. Okay, so at this point though, what I'm gonna do 100% MJ. Yeah, I love the movie posters or anything like that in the prompts are always fun. Um, so I'm just gonna get the character codes that I have right now. But I really should have the character sheet pulled up first here. So let me do that really quick. I am developing this character with a friend of mine. And basically, I know that some of you folks are gonna really some of you folks are gonna really dig this character. Let's see. What's the best way for me to do this? Yeah, I'll just go ahead and export the whole sheet. I will say that I about halfway through I kind of made a different decision here. I I leaned more towards the artist style as opposed to what Midjourney gave me, so like we can kind of see your all's directions, right? Uh, let's see here. Desktop. Let's go ahead and save this one here. Gnarly. All right. And I will post this in text chat for you guys. All right. I want you guys to meet Veronica Belmont. In fact, I'll post it in here too so that I can full screen this a little bit. I'm pretty excited about this character because the at least for what we're going to be doing here, it's going to give us you know a because Vicky is fun when it comes to you know trying to get like a gender bent you know kind of version of or at least me from like 10 years ago back when I used to wear big glasses. But Veronica Belmont's like one of like a character here that I really do think that is it's a lot more a lot more flawed of like of a personality trait. Like I kind of see her as being a bit of a klepto spaz, right? Like just somebody who would randomly steal a trinket just because like you know she thought it just because she wasn't thinking about herself in the future, she just did it. Like little character quirks are what I'm hoping to emphasize with the poses and stuff we'll be doing. But the Belmont, you say? Yes. The thing is that the left side of the sheet and the right side of the sheet are actually kind of like two different characters, to be honest. The yes, and it is Castlevania inspired. That is true. The at least the name is. Um, so the left side is probably what we're going to be working on, while the right side is the product that I was able to get out of just the default results here. And I'm going to zoom in on this because I think this is kind of an important precursor before we start getting into prompting this stuff here. Let me get rid of this little doohickey here. You're going to notice something about all of the poses on the right side of the sheet here. You'll notice that she isn't really doing anything. Like her arms are always straight down and she's kind of spooked or happy. It's more like the expressions or what I was only looking at when I was doing this is like I wanted a variety of expressions from her, right? But there's a couple errors that we are going to have to address before we could use every one of these poses. Particularly things like the first image here, her hair is way too short, right? Like I was going for a shorter hair at first, and then you could tell like, oop, nope. Yeah. So there's a couple different things where like we were like, okay, we could go with longer hair, could go with shorter hair, but in terms of the results that I'm getting, I got better results by what is it by going with longer hair in order to kind of just simplify or make the silhouette a little more unique in that regard. It maybe it's not unique. It's just maybe it's even more mediocre. I don't know, but it gave me more fun results to go with the longer hair versus the shorter. But we're gonna focus on this side of the sheet here. So I am going to export this, and we're just going to explore, really where Veronica wants to go, and in terms of the results we get with this.
She's
Um,
super cute. She looks wicked fun.
Oh, thank you. I definitely dug through this character for a little while to get these results specifically. So it takes time to kind of hone in certain personality quirks, like especially on the right side of the sheet here. So first, yeah, let's go ahead and get this sheet out to you guys here. So the easiest way that I've found to do this, right, is you use whatever your what is it? Whatever your photo manipulation program of choice is, you definitely going to want a white background around your character, just because that negative space is we're kind of exploiting that negative space to do a lot of what we're going to be doing next. And with the new SREF stuff, we'll be able to also apply a negative prompt to the negative space to get us even more interesting results, which is a new part of the tutorial I'm working on right now. It's kind of like a band-aid solution until there's like more options for us moving forward when it comes to understanding our character prompts. But for now, this will be fine. So what I'm going to do is inside of VC Create, I'm just going to start pasting the left side of this sheet into VC Create here. So let me grab this, paste that, and basically what I'm doing is I'm getting the front, back, side, quarter, of Veronica here in order to get her at as many reliable angles as I can. And I do say this basically every stream, but the most common mistake people do is that they pick essentially the same pose 3 or 4 times over, and they don't allow them to be unique. Like there's not there's not diversity in their results, especially if they're a traditional artist. I find they do that more often. Like they'll grab like an arm and then mirror it and then move it to the other side and go, that's good enough. And the reality is it's not. You need to have a very unique silhouette. You need to have a very striking diversity within each of your images. So I basically all the pictures I'm selecting here, I am making sure that if there's any negative space underneath them at all, like I cut that out. I basically tried to keep this as just the character as possible. And so we have 4 images here. It's basically from different poses, but you could see why her arms came out so straight in my results that I had. Her arms are very straight in these 4 poses here. So we're going to try to get her arms to fan out to avoid the problem that we had earlier. So, let's see. Yeah, Enid said the longer hair makes her shoulder expression pop more. Let's see here. Oops, I am trying to move a scroll bar on the wrong window. That's what's going on. Okay. Yeah, the thing is that when it comes to especially cartooning and stuff, hair kind of acts like all of the hair kind of acts like eyebrows, right? In terms of expression. Like you can make the ends of hair move like as if it's like, you know, a vestigial, like an extension of your face. So a lot of times you'll see like that happen when characters are spooked or scared or whatever. Their hair kind of like sticks up way, you know, not realistically at all, but it lets them be expressive and have fun with it. So like what it actually does best is it gives a framing for the shoulders, like you're saying, but like basically it gives a box, right? So that no matter what I'm standing or whatever, no matter what Veronica is standing in front of, right, that her shoulders will always be visible because they're contrasting the black from her hair. So it gives you kind of like a worryless character when it comes to moving in front of different scenes. It's really just you need to give her a white outline in the hair if she's standing in front of something black. That's really the only kind of like rule change you need to make, because generally her silhouette is pretty clean. So I think that's what I would go with there. But okay, cool. So at this point, let me pop back over to the stage here. Let's see. We see everything. Yeah. I'll let that one go. So let's go ahead and grab the expressions that I have for her in here as well. And I only have 2, which they're about the same anyway. So I'm really just gonna stick to one of them. You know, we'll stick with this for now, just because it is a full body, and I don't want to kind of convolute this too much with additional, you know, I would say like distances of the camera. So like if we have a hip shot or whatever, then we're cutting the image off at the hip. If we have a close up, we're cutting it off at the shoulders. You know, that kind of thing. So we'll just stick with these 4 images here to start, and I am going to just submit that to Discord. For the older folks who have been using my tutorial for a little while, there has been some changes on Discord. So you should know that when you get links like this and you submit them to Discord, you need to make sure you submit them to Midjourney first before you start saving them inside of /prefer or whatever method that you have to save them, because these Discord links are now temporary. There's an execution code applied to them. Which is all the gobbledygook that's after the .png and stuff like that. So what you do is you just take all the images you plan on using, and then you send it in. It doesn't matter what you send it in as, whether it's V6, AG6, whatever. Just take the links that it makes afterward, and then you're good. Because if you now open this, you're going to see a new URL at the top, and it says .midjourney.com instead of Discord. They the Midjourney guys were awesome, and they really kicked it into gear to address this problem. So yeah, read those messages. Yeah, it is important to you know, just to kind of mess around with you know, like alternative places to save your stuff, guys. Like you shouldn't rely entirely on cloud services, especially cloud services. Like I just, yeah. Let's take a look at our initial results here.
Like me, where you don't trust cloud services at all. Like I want everything saved to my hard drive, and that's it.
Exactly.
Maybe
like
age. I don't know.
I don't like that we don't own anything anymore. That's the thing that really bothers me.
Welcome to Rental World.
I
We don't have Disney anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like at least when we rented things, we went to go get them. You know what I mean? And there was like a process to that, and it's like it's not that I miss antiquated things; it's that I miss holding things. I just miss actually owning things.
I don't like to if there was ever an apocalypse, like I can't watch something that's on the computer, even if I bought it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Well, I don't think you'd be buying too much after the apocalypse.
Yeah, but
right.
It's like we were ever the survivors, and we found a way to run electricity, but not the internet.
Yeah.
I want
yeah.
to be able to watch my stuff that I bought.
Yeah, and it is. It's just kind of a shame.
And VHS.
Yeah, it's just kind of a shame because it wasn't ever a consequence that I took into account with when I was a cable cutter. You know what I mean? Like I cut all my cable and I was like, yeah, I'm only spending $12 a month now. This is awesome. And now it's ballooned to whatever kind of craziness it is now, where every network has a $12, $15, $20 subscription. It's awful.
And now we're all facing the very real possibility that we're going to be in an apocalypse without a VHS player.
exactly. It's awful. It's the darkest timeline. We have no VHS player. That's great. Let's see. In terms of wait. So we should use the mj.run links for presets. Yes. You should at least use. Well, okay. You can use whatever Midjourney link you get. Just make sure it says Midjourney on there if you're going to use those. You can also use a one that's hosted third party. Like if you have a website, like you can host it there. That kind of thing. But if you're relying on websites like Imager or anything like that, it's not the way to go. Like you really need to have I mean, you could use Google Drive too, but it's like it's just you need a direct link, and yeah, it's just better if you host things. Let's see here. So okay, at this point, we got Veronica Belmont done. Let's see here. Oh yes, thank you for that, Rhapsody. I appreciate it. Creating a nice /prefer option for us right here. That will automatically make Veronica Belmont as a /prefer. That's how you can save it inside of Midjourney. And just to kind of show you guys that process really quick. You hit / and then /prefer option set, write the name of your character, and then you include the links inside the value here. And that way, every time you prompt with that name, and the way that Rhapsody has it set up here is VER_BEL. You could just do Veronica. You could just do whatever you want to do. Veronomicon, whatever you want. So what I'm going to do, though, is, and we can already see kind of the defaults that V6 is making here. So we're going to immediately do a Niji6. If I can hit 6, okay. And she has set a style to 250. I'm going to leave it at default just so we can see what it gets us, and then mess around with stuff from there. I've been doing a lot of using SREF to kind of. I gotta recalibrate my camera. Look how broken my spine is here on this camera. Hold on a second.
You get Technic.
Boom. All right. Yeah. This is. let's yeah. Now I feel like I'm too tall. It's okay. It's all right. All right. So these are the default results that we got. And you could see that at least compared to my my sheet that I had on earlier, I ended up simplifying this dress. But here's the thing, though. For Midjourney, it does a really good job replicating this dress, and it's a pattern dress. It's very hard to find patterns that work, that don't need a lot of like manual cleanup afterward. And this one just does. It just does because of the kind of clean randomization of the flowers on the bottom. It's if you want a pattern that works a little better, it's going with natural elements for some reason. Just well, actually, it's probably a pretty easily explainable reason for that. But any kind of flowers, any kind of like individual doily kind of elements are going to work pretty well. But patterns are usually a no go for what we're going to be doing here in a minute. But what we want to do is we want to pick one of these that we really like. Okay. And for me, it's going to be the top right one because of the headband that's there. So let's go ahead and do that. I just really want to make sure there's a nice prominent headband on there. Just because I do think that's a really fun way to split up the silhouettes of the hair. So what I'm going to do first is, now that we have a character in the center of the prompt here, that look, it's pretty decent. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a zoom out. And as long as there's only image links inside of here, zooming out really shouldn't do too much. It shouldn't really, add too much context or anything like that. If I turn this into a source reference, it's going to add a bunch of Veronicas around her, but it's going to look inspired by her. It's not going to be her. We haven't gotten to that stage yet of being able to reference like that. But what I want to show you guys here, though, is we want to look for the one that kind of like has the least amount of distortion or noisy elements, and especially the least amount of background elements. That would probably be the second one here. And in terms of her outfit, right? It always generates her a little too tall. You can see that it's like, at least for me, it's she's probably fine for y'all, but it feels a little too tall for me. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually just zoom out of her a little bit, because you could see just how much I zoom actually dictates her height, right? So if I'm like, oh, I'm not happy with that, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit custom zoom instead of 2 times. I'm going to drop the zoom from 2 to like 1.3. And, and let's already change the aspect ratio to 3 too, just to get us a little farther ahead here. The reason why the aspect ratio gets us a little farther ahead is because we're going to have to widen this anyway in order to request multiple poses, multiple expressions, that kind of thing. The more square it is, the more likely it's going to be squished in vertical in terms of the results. So we want to make sure we got enough room that we could see things, but that we're not so far back that we lose oh wow, we got a it's not a proper turnaround, but it is interesting result that we just immediately got that, so that's cool. But I still am thinking that she's a little I want to get those feet popping out just underneath her, but like underneath that dress. But it could also be that in my reference image she's also a bit too short. So, but you could see what's wrong with this though is that she's wearing a skirt, like a much shorter skirt on the left and right side here, and she's a little differently. What do you call that? She has a bit different proportions on the left versus the right. So you can just vary a region. If you say you were happy enough with this or whatever, then you could just vary region. Oops. Making sure you get all of that negative, like all that black area that's here, and pick the one that you like. So we'll go with the one on the right here, just for example. And get rid of this black bar in the middle. And we'll just start off with multiple expressions, just so that this one kind of generates or focuses more on faces. But a little earlier, what I'm going to do instead is, you notice that the black bars are what's actually creating the framing or composition to come out the way that it is. It's because it's seeing the black bars on the sides of this prompt here. So let's fix that first before we zoom out and notice just how much better the results are going to be because of that. I sometimes jump the gun on this because it's oftentimes the black bars just delete themselves, honestly, because it just tries to make a prettier image. But for the sake of what we're doing here, I'm just going to, you could write white space or whatever, but most likely just including these image links will end up making enough negative space simply because of how the images look on their own. If you look at them right now, they have plenty of negative space around them. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of negative space. So it's like uh, in terms of the blending that we're doing, where we're combining multiple images together and trying to turn them into something unique, or at least a median in between of all of them. Um, the thing is that it's going to also look at all the negative space too and go like, okay, yeah, what's the average of a bunch of negative space? you know, so at this point you could see all 4 results were easy. Like it doesn't matter which one we pick because they're all identical effectively. You just have to make sure there's no more white space around there. And now when we zoom out, it is far more likely going to be just empty negative space that's all around her. But I'll do 1.5 on the zoom and then set this to 3.2. Oh, look at that. You got her shoes in there, right? Good job. So the thing is that Legal Beagle here used source reference, which is a new tool from Midjourney. And essentially what source reference lets us do is it lets us be able to set the rules, or it's like an inspiration for the result. And since the inspiration that we gave it has the shoes in the right place that I'm imagining and stuff, it's a lot more reliable in terms of proportions of the character. There's still some things that are off, like she's got tattoos, she's got little elements here. Source reference is going to be much more inspired as opposed to literal when it comes to like normal image blending. So let's take a look at the result that we got here just from zooming out, though. The source reference will come in handy a little later, and I'll show that off here in a minute. All right, so again, she's too tall in all these, but I'm gonna forcibly shrink her a little bit. Let's select the second one here because it's got a lot of negative space. I'm gonna try to get rid of those shadows right now. So let's take a look see here. First, I'll select the shadow. I'm not worried about writing anything in the prompt. It's just images right now. And since this doesn't have any part of her in it, I'm not really too worried about that. But I am going to select her legs here. And then now that I have that selected, I'm going to also imagine where her feet would be, right? So I'm going to say like something like here, and let's go for something like here, right? And we could do what because that's the thing. Source reference is going to be an inspiration of this character as opposed to necessarily the character herself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe what shoes she's going to be wearing, but using her images as a source reference. So we'll go to the front of the prompt, and then I'm going to write Doc Martens because I see her as a chick that wears Doc Martens. And then we're going to put source ref on there, and then submit that. So we'll see if it's able to replicate some tiny Doc Martens for her feet, or at least much closer to what Legal Beagle got. The bottom left, especially, I think is like really fun. Let's see, which one was this one? Yes, this one here as well. I actually really dig the top right one here. I just really like those kind of like short socks that you can like see just the calf. It's cute. It's just cute. Let's see. What did you guys say here? What are you guys talking about here? For the apocalypse, I have music mixes ready. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm curious to hear your all's jams for sure. Oh my god, it made her feet huge. It just made it huge. That's a bit goofy, right? That's a little too goofy for me. So let's actually try to not do two jobs at once. I'm gonna try to remove the shadow element to this so we can hopefully get a little better when it comes to exactly what we want to get rid of here. So let's go ahead and select this like so. And I'm just gonna get it a little closer to the feet here and leave it at that. We'll just do that and see if it's able to not give her long legs there. The only reason that I'm trying to avoid the long legs is because I really just don't feel like I really don't feel like changing up the main character model. And this is the kind of stubborn things that you're gonna want to do anyway. So let's just lean on this one particular one. She needs Burlington socks. Yeah. Burlington Coat Factory. That's the only thing I think of when I hear the word Burlington.
They're more than gray coats.
I mean, I'm not surprised that it's giving us like these like long gothy boots, right? Um and and everything like Legal Beagle's kind of pumping out right now is much closer. But let's see eh I could just borrow one of these from Legal Beagle really quick. Um Nothing wrong with that. Doing plenty
You
of
want to
borrowing
borrow
here.
it from Legal Beagle?
Right. So
It's
what I'm
legal.
it's legal because he's a bagel. Uh, I'm just gonna scroll down to this one here. That. Yeah, I'll just grab this third one here, and what I'm gonna do is I am going to zoom in, and then I'm just going to select her feet and just clip that really quick. Um, this should give us a silhouette of shape basically that we can. Oh yeah, look what you're doing. Oh, that's the burl. Yeah, that would work. That works. I would have to agree that that would work. So I'm just gonna grab this image here, and we are going to select this source reference again. And I'm going to just kind of select the underside of the dress here a little bit. And now I am going to paste the link to that image, right? I'm going to write Doc Martens. And then I'm going to put an image weight of 3, which is just going to max that out. And then submit that. It still has the source reference of Veronica in there. So if needed, I can get rid of that and just try to force even even less, or how would I describe that? Just simpler feet. But yeah, no, if you're talking about like showing off the legs, oh yeah, get her those socks for sure. For the image references, should you have bottom white? Should you have some more white at the bottom? Um, so for the full bodies, you probably should, to be honest, because it's going to just kind of bring the results closest to the edge, and everything on the edges is going to fail like this one's failing. So yeah, it is true that I probably should have added more negative space to the bottom of the foot there. Um, but let's go ahead and uh, I'm actually just going to grab much more of the dress, and hopefully we can get us a little bit closer to what I actually am intending to do here. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to grab another one of these here too. So Sorry, just a moment, guys. Alrighty. I like the derivatives that Veronica makes as well, right? There's a lot of fun just a sort of fun what do you I forgot the phrase that would describe this as. It's this sort of like cottage punk look where it's like, yeah, they're like Amish but goth. I don't know why. I don't know why that's like the first thing I thought of, but that's what I'm getting out of this. Is that especially with the hats, like there's some really fun minimalist hats, like just simple bowler kind of hats that this for some reason generates, and it's just fun to see. But it's true. Yeah, it's true. All right, I'm gonna grab the whole bottom of the dress for this one, and we'll do this as an image blend instead. Oh yeah, her bow is really cute in this the bottom right one, especially if you want like to go for more like magic girl, right? The
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bottom right one will be solid for that. But for what I'm trying to accomplish anyway, I'm gonna see if I can get her feet tiny. With just by image blending here. I think what's actually going to be more useful is if I try to delete her feet entirely first, so that she just doesn't have, um, so she just doesn't have
The feet.
legs, no more feet. She's just gonna have no more feet. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna see if this works. But we'll include the other image just to get that started here. And I'm not going to include any descriptions of the shoes anymore. That means I don't need the image weights. I can just run off of a blend of two images. And then I'm just going to submit that with the entire bottom side cut out. We'll just see what it does. It's probably going to add more long boots again. But we'll just, yeah, we got a defeat. Yeah, when are you guys going to add the defeat button? That's everyone needs that. We just like delete the feet. It is true though that her feet are unrealistically tiny here. I was kind of going for like kind of a petite foot joke where it's like the like at least when I was originally kind of picking the options here, I was kind of thinking that it would be if we're going for kind of an old world cottage like mentality or whatever. Oh my god, it made her feet insanely big. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, look at this. Look
Did
how
you ever see that
stupid.
Tim
Oh
and
wow.
Eric thing? It's like petite feet, feminine steps.
Yes, I remember that bit. I remember that bit quite fondly, actually. It's I still love the Ted Danson Tiny Dancing Man skit from Tim and Eric, and it was just Ted Danson, like just being tiny. That's the entire bit. Is just you're tiny now. It's
Nothing
too
else.
fun.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, it's like there was like another one about gravy too, like the gravy boat guy or whatever. He's just all about gravy.
Yes.
What is it? What do you do? Okay, I see. I see what you're doing here. Yeah, getting those shoes at the right size. Ancient says, I. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I'm going to. I'm probably just gonna do this, guys, because we're getting some good results from like Legal Beagle here and what he's doing, right? It's there's nothing wrong with kind of moving on to like a different result or pose that's easier to get us to where you want. No, no, don't prop real feet. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just go with the third one here because it's just gonna get us to what we want to
Like
do.
realistic Sasquatch feet.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I did a turnaround of the giant feet, that were here, I'm curious what I would get, but I can almost tell you right now, it's just going to be chaos. So what I'm gonna do is, now that we have one where there's a queen and I'm happy with the shoes and where they are. Thank you for this legal beagle. That's awesome. Um, and he got that by let's see which images he combined together to make that. So we have my foot, or the foot that I selected, the full body of
What if
Veronica
you
here.
ask for creeper shoes? That might help. Creeper
Creeper?
boots.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like the style of like the really thick sole
Oh, okay. Okay.
that we used to
Yeah,
wear in the 90s with the Doc
I
Martens of the real thick soles. Those are called creepers.
I see. Yeah. I mean, like, it's I missed the Grudge era just by like a hair. You know what I mean, in
Oh,
terms
okay.
of like, like pop culture and all that stuff. So like, I I I I definitely am a late '90s kid, though. When it comes to, especially when it comes to music. Okay, let's see here. We're gonna do a custom zoom, and because we see that's all white around, it doesn't really matter too much what's inside of our prompt. We're just zooming out of it right now. So I'm gonna do 3, 2, and I'm gonna make sure our zoom out isn't too far. We just want to make sure that we capture the top of the head here. And I'm gonna grab, actually. No, that's fine. Yeah, we'll just go with this. So we'll just do 1.3 because we just want to capture her head here. Well, let's do 1.5. That's fine, and we'll just see what we get with that. Creeper. Um, yeah, at least for me, when it comes to some of the AI bias, like some of the silly things that come up when you search, I imagine creepers is going to give us all sorts of weird results. Um, Minecraft creeper boots message could not be loaded. Could not be loaded. Could not. Yes. The Okay, all right. So you can see we got a little bit of chaos here. Not good for what we're doing, and that's mostly because of the images I think I had included here. It shouldn't matter too much, but it did in this case. So let's go ahead and fix that. Oh no. Look at that. Look at the
Those are
Minecraft creeper
cool.
boots.
Somebody can make a lot of money with those,
I
or at
know,
least some
right?
money.
Yeah, you could make now
Should be
this
100 at making
th-
those.
this is the boots made out of tiles. Like, I can't even imagine how uncomfortable that would be to like walk around in. Um, I
You'd be
do
camouflage feet if you were in the Minecraft world.
right, right. I do really like these boots, though. I do think that it works. Like, it's the ones that look like they're made out of cardboard, like they were literally built around their feet, and they took a photo, and then like could just fall apart when you walk in them. That's pretty
Yes.
fun. It's pretty fun. Um,
If you hit it with
so
a wooden sword, it's gone.
yeah, exactly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom out with a source reference this time. Show you guys what that looks like here. Because what we got here was, when the zoom out, is we got a bunch of randomness that was added, because remember, her head is cut off at the top here. So what we can do is we can kind of restrict our results a little bit. We can do this in two different ways. We can first start with a source reference of our image links, of the first, couple links of our character that we have, and I'm just going to say multiple poses, just to get the, what prompt we're going to be moving to next. It shouldn't matter too much because everything in the source reference is there. So it's we'll just see what we get with that. And When it comes to like building stuff with a lot of negative space, like I see Legal Beagle doing here, right? Um, it's one of those things where it's like I always try to avoid that in the tutorial, because it is something that the results are so weird. Like, they're I think I understand it, and then I don't, because I don't feel like there's any hard rules for that necessarily. Um, but at least for what we're trying to do here, this is going to work just fine. So if we look at the results that we got, just by zooming out with multiple poses. You know, we got like some fun heads. Look, she's standing on a skeleton dude here. That's pretty fun.
Those are
But
her enemies.
right, oh yeah, all of her enemies. But ideally, this doesn't really matter too much. We really just want to find the the one that works for us at this point. And uniquely with this specific result is because the head was a little bit cut off, right? So we can bring the hair back. We can do all that stuff here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and make my life a lot easier. Probably by just selecting the third one. Oh, sorry, the fourth one here, because that puddle I should be able to get rid of pretty easily. Um, but her eyes are kind of wonked out in this one too. So I'm just going to select everything I don't want, and then I'm gonna do a little trick here. So we'll select this head here, boom, like that. Okay, and now I'm gonna select all the images that are in the source reference here. I'm going to paste them into the prompt itself so it looks really doubled up here. But I'm going to add a source reference of 1,000. That's maximizing the referencing of the source itself. And if I want, screw it. We could do it a source 1,000, but understand that if we do that, it's going to pull a lot more from Midjourney's beautification of everything. It tends to actually avoid your prompt, the details in your prompt, by doing that. So we're just going to go with a source weight of 1,000 on this one. So we just max out that one result here. I'm liking that, Boken. Very, very nice. And very similarly, like we could definitely get away with it on any one of these results here too. If we still don't really like these, but I'm probably going to end up adjusting her eyes manually afterwards. So I don't really look at those details too much until we start to get to the expansion stage where we're like asking it to refer to the center of the canvas and make copies. Okay. Legal Beagle said, I am finding Niji6 to view each input as the whole image, and so with the just shoes tries to overlay giant shoes. Yeah. Yeah, and it is true that there is it's much more likely to refer to the entire canvas than before. Like with pans, it used to only refer to half the image there. You could see here we're really just continuing the same with what we had here. And so I can fix that by getting rid of the source reference because the source reference is going to fill that space with an inspiration, not a literal blend, but with an inspiration of that. So let's force it to not be so inspired, right? We'll go ahead and get rid of the source reference entirely and then submit that in. You guys are going to see me making mistakes a lot because there's not really a bona fide way to do this necessarily. We're very much exploring and seeing how far we can get done. So Boken, can you explain really quick? Are you generating these like on your own Discord and then just sharing them here, or are these just convenient goth girls that look similar that you just have available to you? I'm just wondering. Oh, okay, you do it in your bot. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So let's see here about these results. Okay, it's still kind of doing where it's adding a bunch of unnecessary stuff. So we're gonna just get rid of the image links entirely now, and then we'll reintroduce them after we have a clean canvas. It's just very important to have as clean of a canvas as we can with this because I want to make sure we get the hair right and all the details right before we commit to expanding this canvas out and making Veronica run and jump and do all of her poses and stuff like that. Convenient goth girls isn't a thing. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna delete all these. I'm just gonna say white. Let's just say white background, just to try to ham fist this aesthetic, and then we'll fix her hair within painting afterward, as opposed to trying to do it all at once. It's also true that we can always revert back to Niji 5 if we are unhappy with any of the kind of like quirkiness of Niji 6 or any of the new things. Just everything gets tweaked and adjusted over time, right? And so we don't really get those like, those like really small patch notes and stuff and changes. So it's kind of better, at least in my opinion, to just kind of roll with it when it, and see the results that you're going to get, and react to those results, as opposed to necessarily always going in one way. Thank you for prompting that, Ancient. These are clearly very convenient, very convenient. um Headcanon, Boken just had these laying around, right? Exactly. um so we'll let this one render up here, um wherever it is. Oh, okay, it's right here. We'll let that finish up here while we watch Boken generate more convenient goth girls. No, dude, I can bomb it way harder than you can, man. You're good. Don't worry about it. Have you ever seen a repeat 40 in turbo mode? Bonkers. Uh, let's see here. All right. Okay. Wow. Yeah. These are all very convenient. I mean, I could. Let's get a successful generation down, and then I'll do that. Okay, so this is much more of what I was looking for. Okay. It's, yes, we have a shadow and stuff, which is something we do need to get rid of, and I'll explain that here in a second. She kind of has Minnie Mouse proportions, which is fine. That's okay. I mostly like it's getting a little more chibi than I would like, but that's fine. I'm gonna go with the first one here, and we're gonna try to. Oh my god, look how big those boots are! Like there's a certain DeviantArt demographic from the mid 2000s that would have absolutely gone like ape for this image. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix her face and her hair here. So her. So I'm gonna paste her links again. Do a source reference or source weight of 1,000 on that, just to max that sucker out. And then I'm gonna add her links in the front. What this essentially does, at least in my experience, what this does is it acts as a kind of like a little hot fix. So like the smaller of an area that you end up selecting here, at least the more accurate it is for me in the results. So I try to be as close as I can when it comes to where I'm in painting. And we can move on to other elements one at a time. And the reason I do this in a compartmentalized way, where each thing I focus on one thing at a time, is that oftentimes I end up splitting my prompts way too much. They'll go in directions I'm not expecting, or I'll love a generation from one and then love another part of it that was like 3 or 4 generations later, and just end up confusing myself. So it's, at least in my opinion, it's way better to go based on the subject. So like if you need to address like one part of the character, like the boots or anything like that, it's probably better to do that rather than try to address like a much larger segment of the character. Um, just it makes it easier to kind of wrap our heads around too as we get to more complex subjects and stuff. Um, Yeah, if you want to see, the girl with the big boots here, you could easily do a turnaround of her too and just see how wicked those big boots become. But I am certainly liking these socks though. I think that's a fun idea. Um, let's see how this comes out here. All right. So she's got a bit of a bow or something like going on in the back of her head on all of these here. And her eyes are still wonked out because I forgot to adjust those. So let's try to select the larger area here. And then I'm going to lower the style because that is also going to encourage um, less diversity. So, oops, wrong one. We'll go back to vary region here. Remember, we have our links in the front of the prompt. We have we have a source weight of the links as well. But now I'm going to set the style to 50. And I go as low as 10 sometimes when I'm doing this, just because I really want to make sure that I get maybe not the most fidelity of the image, but at the very least I get the shape right, the silhouette right, because then I can always bring back details as I go. Yeah. And just for funsies here, I'm gonna take this one here with the big boots here, and I'm gonna zoom out just of that. We'll just see what we get off of that. Okay, just the one with the nope. We gotta wait a little longer, just a little bit longer. Okay. So it's really interesting here because we're getting some of it right and some of it's wrong, right? The eyes are now like spot on. Like I would say that the eyes are way better. There's a couple of them that are a little weirder, but what we want to do is we want to find the one that's kind of closest to our intent here. I'm gonna actually say that the first one's the closest. So we'll go ahead and select that one. And then for the girl with the big boots here, look, she's standing on a big like a metal thing or whatever here. That's fun. Um, I'm just gonna show you guys this because we're getting a lot of debris and random things that are generating honestly in the backgrounds here. So I'm gonna try one little thing with this one here since we did a zoom out on this. I'm gonna say white background, but I'm also going to change this to Niji 5 just so that we can see if that is going to reduce the amount of weird randomness that we get from that. But I'm going to go ahead and select every part that is wrong from this generation. So let's go for the hair here. And I want to get rid of the shadow as well. And we'll just see if it's able to do both of those right off the bat. And I think this is going to show what I meant by switching down the Niji 5 when it's convenient. The yeah, Niji 6 has some quirks to it, right? And so notice how much cleaner my results are just by downstepping the Niji 5. So we'll go with this one. I probably, if I would have done that way earlier, it probably would have been great, but I was really trying to explore this here. You could see with the zoom out from Legal Beagle where he just did a source reference of what? What did you do here? Oh, okay. I see. It's a pose. Yeah, so that's not going to reproduce her in that pose. It'll be a muse of whatever's in that image, right? Yes, it might be that pose, but it's look at all the color choices and the line art and everything else. That's what's coming from the source reference. Yeah, posing is not actually coming from the source reference. But now that we have, like, for example, this big empty space with the the big booted goth girl, let's call it that. Yeah, I'll leave it. I'll leave the pun at that. Big booted goth girl. we'll go ahead and select this here. Boom, like that. And now that we have a nice clean, there's no like, ground plane. Those shadows are very minimal. There's not a lot of, distracting elements on the outside here. I am just going to write multiple poses, multiple expressions. And then you want to find the right pose and expressions that meet your character's expectations, right? So let's see if is this the one that I did? Yeah. So this is the one where I'm trying to fix the hair, right? And I did a little bit of the background. I did a little bit of the reflection too, and it just made more reflection on there. So what I'm gonna do is take a look at the first. I think that one will work. She is a mafia girl wearing concrete boots. MJ is slow today. Those are still the images I prompted 5 minutes ago. Yeah, MJ's a bit slow today. But take a look at this. All right, so this is Niji 5. Okay. So I'm going to switch this to Niji 6 and show the difference there. But continuity-wise, it's a little off with this. There's a couple different reasons why. I think the proportions of those giant boots is making it sillier, trying to merge all these concepts together. So let's see here. We're going to go ahead and refresh. Actually, sorry, not refresh. We'll do this one again, but this time with Niji 6, just so you guys can compare. And then we'll look at the one where I was working on, or what I was working on. Let's go ahead and take this. And instead, I'm going to go back up to this prompt, vary region. We're not going to worry about any of the new thingies at all. We're just going to try to clean this one up here. So I'm going to say white background, and I'm switching this to Niji 5 just to kind of like blunt this this image here a little bit, because like it's this is something you want. You want diversity. You want something interesting when you're looking at it, right? What we're essentially asking Midjourney to do is to do the opposite when it comes to the negative space stuff. Like we're by all practical means, we should be able to just select this and go, all right, Photoshop, cut it out. Nah, we don't need it anymore. But because of what we're doing with this, the reason why I'm so focused on removing these shadows and reflections and things is the fact that as soon as we establish a ground plane for the character that they're standing on, other characters or other poses will start to obey those rules and see that as a floor. And we don't want that. We want just a bunch of poses on paper kind of thing. So now compare the Niji 6 version, and the big booted goth girl is way more diverse when it comes to actually getting cool, unique expressions on her. Especially the bottom right one is really good. You would need to do a little bit of work to account for some of the changes, but look, even this like walking to the side one here is good enough. I would probably get rid of the bag and stuff, but bottom right, easy. That's that one. You just need to swap out this, and I'll show you guys here. So essentially, when you're doing the swap outs and stuff, you really just want to come into here, vary region, and then select the ones that are wrong. So that would be these two on the left. They don't have the right feet. And we could also select her, like kind of her upper thighs here to replicate that missing element here. But again, I like to work one asset at a time. So we're just going to focus on this top left part of the frame here. And now, look at that. With Niji 5, I was able to clean this up real fast and get rid of almost all the shadows, because it's just going to make a very simple, much more simplified decision than Niji 6 will. So now that I have this here, we are just going to artificially extend the canvas, and before we do our expansion and stuff, we're just going to confirm that that all the details are how we want this character to look. Okay. So and while I'm getting that ready, you can actually see what this inpainting did now, where it referred to the other images inside the canvas and went, okay, this is what I think you want. And it's amazing. It's just amazing for being able to do this kind of stuff, because you don't even have to export or upres any of the images here. What you can do is you can just select the ones that work. You could literally grab all these, all the I would say just the standing pose here, and then this pose with her in the open mouth. I'd probably change her mouth because it's a little lost in her shadow here, but otherwise this is great. Like a lot of these results are great. All right. But what I mostly want to do here is I'm going to do a custom zoom first. Well, actually, let's confirm her details really quick, because I do feel like that's something that we need to do. So let's do a side by side here. Okay. So if I look at the tablet here, and then I copy this over so that you guys can see. Once I have a successful generation, we'll do a repeat 40 for you all just for fun. But what I mostly want to confirm is what I got wrong here. And the pattern in the dress is probably what I'm gonna focus on the least, but we can address it at least. We'll try to address it. So I like everything except for the hair. I think the hair is the only thing that's really super wrong, because it's seeing some of the back of the hair that's here in the front. Okay, so let's go ahead and re-roll the hair here, and I want a little more like kind of self cut. I definitely want it to look like she cuts her own hair. You know what I mean? Like from a in like the most amateurish way you can imagine. Just grabs locks of hair and just snips it with the pair of scissors. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of girl I'm trying to get here. And it's certainly true that I've known plenty of men that behave the exact same way, right? And it's just kind of funny to me. In terms of like the gendered roles and all this, like it's so much more of a shame, not shame. It's so much more judged upon when a woman does that, but when a man does it, it's just like, oh, he just needs to go see a barber or whatever. But it's for a woman, it's like, oh, she's lost it. She's going crazy. What is that trope that's in movies where like the girl cuts her hair? Is I think that's the name of the trope. It's like the girl cuts her hair, and it just means that she's gone badass, she's gone rogue, or she's like she's no longer like the other girls, like that kind of crap. um Okay, so what I'm noticing here is I added way too many areas to clean up, and it's just kind of making some funkiness here. Oh, wait, whoops, I forgot to include image links. My bad. I just kind of said white space and re-rolled her hair randomly. So let's go ahead and grab the image links here. No, these are from Legal Beagle. Hold on. And I did get some funky results earlier when I zoomed out, and not too surprised on that, but those funky results are still cool. But what we're going to do is go back into the very region here. I'm going to do source reference, paste her links in there. Again, paste those as well. And then this is how I've been doing it. It's just setting the source weight really high and then the style really low, and then finding a middle ground for the two after the fact. So I try to look at the at least how simple. Oh, that's right. I need to switch this to the EG6. I just kind of look at how simple of a thing I'm trying to inject in there, is, and like we're going kind of from a grayish hair to a much darker hair. So, she generally has black hair, yes, but in the light it's going to be kind of shimmering gray like that. So that could cause a little bit of confusion too. So we'll see what we get and just keep on re-rolling this hair until the results are kind of what we're expecting. Um, we'll see what we get in just a sec. I cut my hair soon after I joined this show. Yeah, did you just grab a pair of scissors that you had on your desk and you just start cutting? Um,
Crying into the mirror while you cut your hair off.
right, right, exactly. I feel like what is that from Napoleon Dynamite, the guy who's like I cut my hair because I was feeling too hot or whatever. Um, yes, that is essentially what
Pedro. It was Pedro.
Pedro, yes, yes. Pedro is like I feel him so hard sometimes because I love my long hair. I love having long hair. I have thick long hair, and sometimes it's very hot in the summers, especially, and I'm like, I just want to cut it all off, and then I know I'll just regret it afterward. I'll just be so so upset with myself. I cut my own hair with a letter opener. that's what I'm imagining. Legal Beagle. That's me finishing his sentence right there.
My mom once cut my dad's hair with like cuticle clippers, and for the rest of his life, he told us that like my mom cut his hair with toenail clippers, and
That's
we
too
never
funny.
forgot it.
Okay, I finally got the hair here. All right, so after about 3 different attempts, we did a higher style. I increased the style to 750. I kept the source weight at 1,000, and I did the whole copy thing with the source reference, where it's in the prompt and in the source reference. It just kind of doubles up everything and makes it a lot more reliable for me to go, okay, yeah, I'm probably going to get more of what I'm expecting, or at least more of what I want. Um, so we have this here. Let's go ahead and expand the canvas really quick. And get rid of the source reference because I don't want a bunch of randomly inspired Veronica like clones here. I just want to expand the canvas, so I'm just going to leave everything in there. Set this to 3:2 so we get a wide canvas, but the zoom set to 1 because this is kind of like the perfect height for her. We get a little bit of room on the top for some future expressions if we want, but we're mostly looking at the left and right sides for what is it for the to generate the new poses. So we're just going to hit submit on that. And while that is processing, oh no, you guys, plenty of haircut stuff. Oh wow, this is so pretty. I really do like some of these results that you guys are getting. Man, I'm like offending people left and right with this cutting your own hair thing. That's hilarious. Um,
I cut my own hair regularly. Like I don't even think about it like that. You know what I mean?
right.
I just like, oh, I gotta get this out of my face and snip snip.
I just avoid cutting my hair in general.
Do you get that long metalhead hair?
Yeah, you see,
Or or
he,
or,
he has
or
he has some long hair on him.
oh yeah. I couldn't tell
Hmm.
whether you were the
Long,
kind of what sorry what?
not long, but
No, but it's long. Like I mean, it's at least chin length, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's at my shoulder-ish.
Like the one of the few times I've seen you, it was I didn't get to see your face, but I did see your hair, and it was luxurious.
My hair goes almost to my ass. That's how long it is.
Ooh.
It it's pretty long.
Do you keep it in a ponytail all the time?
I use a hair clip a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's just it's just
Hot.
really it's just really hot to kind of keep it to keep it on my shoulders all the time.
Yeah, I
See,
finally grew mine out again, and like it's like I keep my hair all packed up all the time, just for like the one or two occasions I might wear it down and iron it and make it look nice.
I even pulled out a hair straightener like a week ago. I don't know why I did. I just felt like straightening my hair, but it was like ridiculously long after that. I was like, "Oh man, every little curl is gone." All right, let's do multiple poses, and we're gonna finally get to what I wanted to accomplish with this stream here, at least this part of the stream. So we right now can just generate because we have enough negative space, but not too much around her, that I can do multiple poses, multiple expressions to start. And if we don't like these results, we can always down step to Niji 5. It's just because it's just a little more of a crapshoot, Niji 6, when it comes to this particular workflow. But it's a lot more reliable in the sense that if you do get good results, they're really good results, like real good, really worth it for sticking with Niji 6. But I really do like this Lizzie. It's just it's very pretty. It's interesting how all four of these look like different women to me though. Like, you know what I mean? Like in terms of personality. Okay, cool. So we could start to see what our initial results here are. We have multiple poses, and I didn't write multiple expressions, but expressions worked fine. You're going to notice that this is where you guys have to take the most amount of time, is with the poses. I kind of had a bit of a discussion not too long ago about this and how important it is to take the time to really develop the characters as people, like as having flaws, as being spazzy or nerdy or whatever, awkward or confident or whatever. All these things you can tell because of the pose of the character. Like one result will be way more confident than the other, and if you go down that path, you're probably going to end up with a confident character, right? Like it's just, if you want a silly character, I mean, this is a little way too silly here, but look, she's got boots in her hands. Look how dumb that is. Like that's just funny, but it is an example of kind of how
Boots were
silly
mentioned in the prompt, right?
yeah, exactly. It's probably somewhere in the prompt, but it is
I made
important.
my son. I made Bradley, and now like because it says that he wears nice Nikes all the time, like you know what I mean. It's like
Mm.
his thing, and every picture that I get of him has him like holding his shoes if his shoes aren't in the picture.
Nice. That's funny. So let's try to direct her really quick, because you could just keep re-rolling if you really want maximum diversity, right? I would probably write multiple expressions rather than just multiple poses, but this is how you get the most amount of diversity, but it's also how you get the most amount of mediocrity as well. Like as in like we're probably going to get a lot of bubbly goth girl, in the sense of like trying to it's either going to be bubbly or angry.
I got one here
Uh,
with you, goo.
yeah. The most important character to have continuity is you. Uh,
Maybe the character continuity is the friends we made along the way.
right, right. Okay, so let's take a look at our expressions and stuff that we want to pick here, because if I'm going for a more spazzy or whatever kind of person, I most likely want to pick action poses and things that make sense for a character that would behave like that, um, or at least has that sort of disposition. So like, let's do I would I would say I don't really want to rely on words like spaz and nerd or anything like that. I would much rather rely on something that more describes like their anxiety or like their stress or whatever. Like so let's think about this for a second. So if I want her to be kind of like, handsy or klepto, kind of personality, I probably want her to be kind of uncomfortably close to people, like leaning in all the time. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Um,
Like she doesn't have a
it's
sense of boundaries.
exactly. I want that would be great to for her to not have a sense of boundaries. But how do we communicate that through poses and like and just just stature of the character or whatever. Sorry, I'm a little bumbly today. But let's do multiple um let's say a front maybe or something like that. Like multiple I'm trying to think of like a word that is for someone who is very
Intrusive,
forward.
overbearing, presumptuous, pushy.
Over I like overbearing. I like overbearing action. Let's do multiple overbearing action poses and we'll just see what we
There's
get
also
off of that.
imposing, which is a good
Manic.
one.
Oh, manic is another good one. Manic is a good one. If you guys got any more suggestions, just write them in there and I'll throw them in.
Nosy,
Manic. Oh, nosy. That's a good one.
boundary challenged.
This is boundary challenge. You're gonna get like a psychiatrist or something.
All these are right off
Sneaky.
the top of my head. I'm obviously not discussing this with ChatGPT or anything.
So let's see what we get off of those couple first ones. We'll see. Meddlesome. Oh, meddlesome. That's a good
Meddlesome.
meddlesome. I have not used that word yet, so that's a good one. And guess what? Of course, it comes from Lizzie. All right. I am not boundary challenged. I see. I see. You're like, get the hell away from me. All right. Let's see what we get off of these. Discombobulated. Discombobulated would probably be like the equivalent of someone who's like like a teen who is just getting their like growth spurt and they like keep banging into things when they walk around, right? That's one I can see. All right, let's take out some of these poses and see how much they match the expectation here. Oh, over familiar. That's a good one. Uh, okay. All right. So, I really under meddlesome. There's a bit of like a bubbliness slash Beetlejuicy kind of fun to the bottom right one. The bottom left one's a little too monkey, like a little too wild in terms of the body posing. Top left one looks like she's just gonna kick my ass. And so let's go to the top right one here. And then let's check out. Ooh, Burlington arm sleeves. I smell money. Oh yeah, Burlington arm sleeves. Yeah, let's make some money. Um, yeah, you're gonna make money. All right, so let's take a look at nosy action poses. I love these expressions of her face here, where it's just like, of course she's being nosy. She has her face like with her hands in her face like that, where it's like she's bored. She just wants to tell you a bit about the drama, and just like it doesn't care about your side of the drama. Just wants to tell you her side of it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting here. So I'm gonna upres that too. I like the third one here. And I'm not a big fan of the other two. All right, so this one is manic. Oh yeah, yeah. The bottom right one is certainly manic. It's not really on model to what I would imagine she was, but it is certainly on model in terms of the like the outfit. Like it looks great. Let's just go with that one. We'll just combine all that in there. Doesn't need to be too perfect because we're going to be doing image blending at the end of the day with this. But the reason I'm doing all this, y'all, is because I need poses where her hands are not stiff and straight down, and that applies to all the limbs. Um, Essentially, this pose here on the right is going to turn her into a rocker chick. Like it's going to turn her into a bit more rambunctious of a character, which is fine because everyone has those moments or whatever. And oh damn, there's some fun results that you guys are able to get just by like in painting out all the other spaces and stuff. Look how happy the sushi is. Okay. uh let's go back up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to inspect this and see how kind of on model some of these details are. And I would say that it's not crazy on model. Like there's some funkiness to it. Like this hand splits in two. The perspective is like kind of a warped wide angle on this one. I'm actually not too big of a fan of this result. There's a bunch of problems with it, but I think we have enough to be able to say, hey, keep going with this idea. So if I now select everything that is actually, I'm going to keep the bottom two. Let's just select all these ones because I feel like they're all wrong. And this one. We can just re-roll this prompt here. Okay. And like I said, I really like these faces. The hair's not right, but the faces are right. So we might be able to just isolate the faces later. But I'm gonna just get rid of what I don't want on this one as well. So I don't want the cat, even though the cat's fun. Gonna get rid of the tops of their heads to have this kind of cone shape. Let's try to get rid of that. And you'll notice me very quickly working on multiple like images because I will be combining these all later into a sheet of some sort. But now that we have this here, right? I can grab those links that I had earlier. And I'm just going to max that out. Source weight at 1,000 and style at 500. Just something dead in the middle of that. You can go from 0 to 1,000 on styles. You can go to like 3,000 on weird. You can there's all sorts of different variation, like different max values, which you don't really know what those values are unless you look at the wiki, the parameter list on the wiki, or you hit a button wrong and it tells you that you screwed up. So we'll see how these results come out here. I would say probably the bottom left is good there. Madame Biscoff. Okay. And oh, there she is holding the gun. Oh yeah. That's funny. the Glock test. We'll get into the Glock test a little later. I think it is. I really should. I really should move on though. So what I'm gonna do though is try to find any more additional poses from you guys that I like. But I mostly want to grab the ones that work here. So let's go ahead and where's that one? That one's getting redone. This one's my favorite, I think, out of all the ones that we got so far because it gives us the most diversity in how the dress moves. And we should just have to in-paint a few details to fix things. Her outfit is probably the most wrong from this because if we look at the other outfits that we've been generating, she's got like kind of like suspenders on, and it's more like a wool kind of sweater on this. So let's go ahead and try to vary region and fix basically like automatically, like with the high source reference trick here. And now I gotta just look for anything that feels wrong. She's got two arms in the wrong places here. So I'm gonna select this arm here and this remaining part of her arm here, just to keep that isolated. And in terms of the other image, yeah, let's get rid of her arms all up here and try to get her to kind of span those out a little bit. And with this one, she's missing an arm here. And I'm just going to go ahead and just select her chest there because she was not wearing the right suspenders. Same with this one. And there we go. We'll see how those results come out here. But I wanted to thank you all so much for coming today. This is easily the thing I look forward to every week is just making stuff with you guys. It is a lot of fun to hang out with Kinky and AC here, but it is something that it's the results, it's the stuff we make that get me so excited about making stuff with you guys, and also just the the appreciation that I get from you guys, especially the folks that deal with different disabilities and things like that, is like it's so rewarding to hear back from you guys. So I really do want to hear more ideas and things from you guys too. But overall, I just like hearing it. There's a couple artists who have aphantasia that have reached out to me and told me that they use my tutorial now, which is super neat. I never really wrapped my head around doing art entirely through technique, right? Like, as opposed to, kind of imagining the apple in your mind. If you can't imagine the apple, like, how do you draw, right? That was never really a consideration of mine. But I am heavily dyslexic, right? So I can tell you exactly what the apple looks like down to the little spots that are on the apple, but I can't read the label. I can't read the little sticker that's on the apple. What is it? It's just something where I'm acutely aware of where the benefits of Midjourney are, and seeing that kind of come out, in people is just so much fun. Okay, so let's take a look at these additional ones that we. Ooh, I like this sass. It's definitely got a little bit of sass in that one. I like the more realistic rendering style you got going on here.
Oh yeah, it's really pretty.
Oh yeah, she's gonna kick some ass with this one though. I like the left side though, Lizzie, for sure. I'll add that to the list. So the ones that I would recommend avoiding are the what I'm gonna say is these starfish hands, where it's like the hands are together and they're kind of spanning out like that. That is just confusion fuel for Mid Journey, in my opinion. Um, but if we look at some of our very regions here that where we picked new choices for um, what is it for this one's for just certain parts of it, so we're gonna have to zoom in here pretty good. So for example, we changed up this arm on her in all these poses, and I usually try to find one that looks pretty good because usually the others are at least trying to be as good in that, you know, in that way. And so this one has the most amount of arm. And so I'm just going to confirm really quick. You can see like her arms up on this one, kind of up here. Wicked scary smile on that one. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other poses real quick. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to render let's go with the fourth one. I don't know what's going on here, but it's wicked. I love how you can basically guarantee that there's going to be someone holding a badass sword at least at one point in my stream. Like it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I have like if if I say all right, let's prompt a duck, you guys are going to still prompt a sword, like it holding a sword somehow. It's probably going to put it in its mouth. Um but okay. Let's I know, right? MJ loves giving swords. So I like this a lot. I like these a lot. So what I'm gonna do is take some of Ural's results. There's a bunch of good ones in here. A lot of them are a little too bubble pop. Let's just put it that way. There's a little too much energy. Um, I definitely want someone who you know, what sorry, the what is it? I was it's funny because I was in the mid sentence and then I hear sandwiches and it's like there's a joke about wanting to finish each other's sentences and they just go we finish each other's sandwiches, you know, and like the fact that it
I
sounds like
literally
sandwich.
just said the word sandwich to my son at the same time you said that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I heard sandwich and I'm like that. There's a joke.
I was actually talking to my son about a sandwich when you said the word sandwich. It was really weird. Like I heard it echo in my head.
All right, that's funny. Yeah, look at that. Look at these ducks with swords. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Uh, they're gonna do Genshin Impact, but with ducks. Okay. Let's see. Grab. I'm trying to grab the poses I think will work. Let's go ahead and grab this one. Oop. And I'm gonna skip these. And arms are a little too straight in these. Yeah, this too bubble pop. I like the kind of lacy gothiness of it, right? A lot of these are pretty like oh, I'm embarrassed kind of thing. I think the dress does that. The tropes about, you know, anything dress related is going to be like, okay, we have to now communicate with the dress. You know what I mean? I do like the top right result here as well. Okay. And this is the one that we upresed, right? Right. I'm gonna try to give her another arm on this side and try to repair a little bit of her suspenders. So we're gonna do a very region again on top of this, and I'm going to do large selection of the area here like that. I don't think I really need to select anything else. I'll go with another one here. Go for that. Okay. All right. So at this point, I think I have. How many of these do I have saved? Not enough. Let me go ahead and grab some of what we did here. We got this one. This one. That'll definitely work. She's a little too tall in this one, so I'm going to skip it. But it is they are pretty though. With some tweaks, you could get the top right one working, but yeah, I do like that. Wow, some of your all's expressions look great when it comes to this stuff, and I know it can feel kind of like a little lame to say that because like oh, we're just pushing buttons, whatever. The reality is that like it took me like 3 hours to completely develop Veronica, like the way that I was happy with her, right? You know what I mean? Like it's it is a reason why a lot of these results are getting the getting the core parts of the character right, but in terms of like the word like domineering poses and domineering expressions, that's what Lizzie went with here. And they all look really cute. I think they all look cute. I think I'll go with the second, third on this one. Here's our in paint that we did. So we want to look at just the key differences, trying to see if we got an arm out of her on the left side here. We did not. Was there another element to this that I prompted? Let's see. Oh yeah, it's her other arm here. She's got a short squinty arm on the third one here. Kind of a weird bend on that arm. Another weird bend on that arm. I'll go with the fourth one. It's the one with the least weird bend in the arm. Press these. That third result's actually pretty rad with that arm sticking out like that. Actually, the fourth result's more reliable. All right. Okay. So at this point, you guys are just going hard, cycling on all this stuff here. I'll go ahead and open that one.
You know how you have the red lodge and the black lodge and all that stuff on your server?
Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna have a Veronica lodge?
It's oh, okay, I see. Yeah, a Vanta Black Lodge would be funny, but like yeah, no, I'm so unfamiliar with Archie, honestly. I really should get more familiar with the classics when it comes to the comics, the Western classics anyway. I'm
Veronica
so
Lodge was the Veronica of Betty and Veronica,
I
the
see.
brunette.
I see. Yeah, yeah. I figured it was characters from the series, but the
Mm.
it is certainly true that sometimes I have to kind of infer. Um, let's uh let's go ahead and do a very region on this one though. Um, so I like this one more than this one, even though her face is better on the right side here. I liked it more because the hands just look way cleaner on this one. So I'm going to do a very region, and I'm basically going to try to return her hair back as I know it. So I'm just going to do this. Source reference, that should be fine. And now I'm just going to select everything that feels wrong, which is the excess length in her hair. Okay. And as for her here, I would probably say her eyes. I'm going to just move her face. Move her face, and then her hand is a little wonky here. Okay. Thank you for linking that. We're only 20 members away from 1,000. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
no, I noticed
ridiculous.
that you haven't said anything I can link about today, so I thought I'd make my own
19.
segue.
I appreciate that. So I'll give a little intro then. When we reach 1,000 members, the Movie Machine Discord will open a new channel. Probably takes me a day or two to get it ready, guys. So just you know, I'm gonna make it a little bit of a show. But when we reach 1,000 members, we're going to be opening up the Isekai channel, which is essentially a role playing server for your characters. It will let you be able to prompt, and it essentially is a way to support me, but it's an even bigger way for you guys to jump into like stories that like I help you write, that I help develop with you. And eventually we're going to get to the point where we have a Patreon set up so that we can pay working artists to make your ideas into productions, into shorts, into comics, into whatever we really feel like making them into. But the idea is that you guys are the idea machines, right? You guys are literally the idea machines, and then the artists get inspired by your actions, your behavior inside the role play server. So it's not meant to be a power fantasy, but some of you guys are gonna inevitably do that, where you're just gonna be like, I am the strongest anime nerd, and you're gonna be the strongest anime nerd. That's fine. It's really boring to not have flaws. So it's just a heads up that when it comes to like telling other people what they can do with their own characters, that's wrong. Like that's a rule. It's a very very early rule that I want to establish with everybody, which is that everyone's there to have fun. And if you don't like what someone's doing, then just do it somewhere else. Do it in in a private space or whatever. We can't really control the actions of other people, but we can encourage better behavior. That's what I'm going to aim for, is for you guys to be honed in and focused on making cool stuff with each other, instead of like just randomly random stuff that comes to the top of your head, right? um we needed police characters that hunt superpower characters, right? That like so I will say that I am so curious to see like D&D kind of experiences. Sure. I at the same time, I know Midjourney is not perfect for this, so we're at the we're gonna make a whole experience for folks though, and the way that this is gonna work is essentially with pre-expanded comics. So where the we provide you a finished comic panel that was made entirely within Midjourney, crafted based on original artist works, specifically for this project. And then what you guys can do is you can insert your own characters into the panels, like into the comics that we make. So it's a way for you guys to like not only interact with the comics and make your own kind of like, you know, your own takes on the imagery, but you can even make your own spin-offs of the stuff we make with the artists. So I have about 8 artists right now that are all kind of curious and interested in what we're doing, and so and they're much bigger than me. I'll just put it that way. So like it's going to be very interesting to see everyone kind of play out in that regard, because I do strongly believe in a in living in a deadline free society. Like I want to live in a place where when we make art, it takes the time it needs for it to look right, for it to look good, for it to be right, but there's no demanding requirement for you to finish it on time. So I will say, for all the cool stuff that we're going to want to do, I have no expectation on when anything will actually get released or finished, and that's probably for the best. Yeah, walk into this without any expectations, you're going to end up happy, I promise. Okay, let's see. So there are some comic panel AIs that I've thought about using to guide MJ images. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be getting into SREFs for guiding comics probably on the next stream. I need to actually ask Ancient to probably change the title of the next event to focus on comics specifically, because I want to talk about SRFs, and and about setting up comic panels ahead of time. Like, basically you build out one comic from one scene of what you want, and how you can use that comic as the SREF for the rest of the panels, or at least most of the other panels, so that you keep a continuity of your, not just your characters, but of your environment, of your aesthetic and color tone, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll get into that here in a bit. So we have a whole bunch of poses from Veronica while I was ranting there, and a whole bunch of really, really, really weird looking things from Fractal Bob. I do dig it though. I do dig it in its kind of odd, silly way. Not surprised that we're already getting like a bunch of ducks up in here. Um, let's go ahead and pick a couple of our favorites here. I see that there was some remixes done. A lot of these are a little too dainty, like in the sense that I'm kind of like, she's a little too tall, a little too agile, that kind of thing. Okay, this is great. Let me try to force her hair to be short, and then this will be perfect. So what we can do is I can paste those image links again, do a source reference, paste the image links, max out the source reference really quick. And by maxing out source reference instead of doing image weights or anything like that, for at least for like trying to change the weights of the images, I'm gonna do a low style. So let's do a style of 50, and that way it's basically just going to try less hard when it comes to like gluing things together and making things look right. Because if you have a very high style, it's essentially going to start ignoring parts of your prompt, if not your entire prompt, and attempt to solve it just with the overproduced, like, mid journey stuff, especially at higher values. So I'm just going to come into here and try to select her hair here, and then submit that. Yeah, you want to do a world building class with Ancient? I think that would be fun. I read that you do have plenty of worlds, so look how much shorter her hair is already. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to upres one of these and just keep going, because the tighter that I keep my in paint around the hair, the less likely it's going to build towards that like towards that end. So whoop, I just find it to be very useful to kind of come into here and be as close as possible. Snowball and RPG with AI images, huh?
Look at the legs on her, huh?
Yeah.
The leggy lassie.
Okay, the bubblegum though. Bubblegum girl expression, right? The fact that you got her like blowing bubbles it's cute, but it's really funny how it's in so many of them. You know what I mean? Like you
If she's anything like me as a kid, she's like, "Oh, I'm really cute. I'm really cute. What of it?" You know what I mean?
Right, right. All
I
right,
want to
I'm gonna.
fight about it.
Yeah, I want to fight about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Veronica's bringing the sword. So if we wanted to like kind of see any kind of awkward thing with because look how she's carrying that sword, right? It's very weird. It's almost like the sword's too heavy or whatever for her. We could make that kind of a plot point, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the zoom to 1 on a custom zoom. Set the aspect ratio to let's do 2.5 just to start here. And then I'm gonna replace all the text with comic panels, and then get rid of the image weight because there's no images. The most important thing is the zoom is set to 1 on that. Look at all the mushrooms. All right, so while that's running, I definitely want to show you guys though, as we start to build up these poses, you know, there's a couple of decisions that you're going to have to make, and you're probably going to end up not keeping all of your images. But essentially, you're going to eventually see side by sides of, whoa, okay, which one is this? From Bill, 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 you
Oh, I
knocked it out
love
of the
them.
park. Bill, this is awesome. Yeah. Just so you know, like you're definitely going to get some like really crunchy, weird poses with these like downward angle ones, but it's definitely great inspo for the character. Like it's amazing how tiny her boots are here. Like I would probably nix these 2 or these 3 images right here. Nix them from your character sheet. You're going to get way better results. But yeah, like that's awesome. You get all the emojis for that one. In fact, you're going to get a special one from me from the pack. And it's going to be this guy going, "Oh yeah, MFer, yeah. All right. All right. Let's keep going here." Um Cool. That's the in painted one.
Bill, I like how loud and subdued your icon is at the same time. Like it's Bill in light.
Yeah, right. So
I was admiring that before you even put a cool thing on the screen.
oh yeah, right. I'll say this. The reason why I'm familiar with the bubble pop prompt is because one of the artists has that pop up constantly on their work. Bubble pop art. Or bubble pop character particularly. And when I see it, I get it. It's not necessarily the pop art part. It's the it's just how strong the poses and the line art is. Like there's a certain sort of uh, strong contrast to the whole thing. It's interesting. I don't have the vocabulary to fully describe it, but it is cool. All right, let's check out these comic panels. I imagine that one generated by now. There it is. Okay, so when we expand our canvas to a much taller or wider result than we had with a zoom of 1, it tends to generate like completed comic panels with, multiple characters and scenes and environments and all sorts of wacky stuff. As we get into the kind of comics, the use cases of your character prompts, like what do you actually do with them? This is what you do with them. You start to explore around the space that you're prompting to find your character again in an interesting pose, and then just clean them up with your character prompts. Okay. So right now we have it all set to defaults here. What we're gonna do is later League of Boot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the comic panels to you could even just give it a premise, right? We could say what she's gonna do with that sword or whatever. But for now, I'm gonna try one where we drop the style to 10, just to show you guys that difference here. Because in my experience, at least, it will drop the perceived quality of it, but it's also going to rely a lot more on whatever is inside of your canvas already. And since we only have a third of the image or so being dedicated to, the original image, it means we get 2/3 of like almost unfettered creativity from Midjourney to figure this out with just the word comic panels. It does make things a little more realistic in a way. It's kind of like more Western graphic novel, but not a big deal. It's much more exciting though when you look at this with low styles, because look at this. The character shows up in multiple places in multiple poses because the styles are, again, they're not pulling from all sorts of fun places to make as complex or interesting of an image as it can. Low styles does not mean low quality. It means low, like, inspiration. Like all the what's being inspired is by what's actually in your canvas. So if you run a low style and you have your character like fully good to go, you're essentially asking it to tell the story for you. Like to think, oh, what's going on? What can I infer from this image and make it more interesting for you? It's so much better than working with high styles. Like if you amp up the style code really high on here, you'll oftentimes, one, you'll lose your characters, and two, at least the bigger one for me, is you lose your aesthetic cohesion. Like there isn't you're not jumping to different artists, basically, different art styles or whatever. You're going to be relying on the one that's already in your canvas the most. So the top left one, for example, or the bottom left one, both of those have very heavily inspired characters. Yeah, Rhapsody said, high style is good for correcting garbled stuff, but it's also handing off the work to the artist within MJ more. That is right. Exactly. Rhapsody said it great. It is certainly going to provide cleaner results. Like you can even amp up your styles to the max, or just high up there, and start selecting the edges of your character's hair, and then watch it make highlights for the hair because the style is so high. Things like that. Great for the smaller things, but it is
very often that if you max out your styles, you're just going to lose your character, especially the larger of an in-painting region you select. So, okay. And same thing as we did before, any one of these results that we like just this one's the most incredible to me is the bottom right one because we see her a little farther away and it's just a pose that's enough to be able to make it work. It's like fighting with a senior artist that has very strong opinions on how to do stuff. Right. I can see that. So wait. Are you telling me the style code is how jaded Midjourney is? Because that's kind of amazing. I'll leave it at that. Let's move on. Ooh! Yes, Veronica Belmont, right here, ready to kick ass. Always ready to kick ass. Look at that. Oh wow. She has this sadness to her that makes me just want to take her inside. This is great. Great job, Cornball. Solid stuff. I laughed real hard though when I was designing Gnome, right? At least my second attempt at designing Gnome. I got really frustrated at something with the shoes at one point because I kept making the boots big like we had earlier. I finally gave up and I was like, okay, fine. You know what? If you're not gonna do this, then I'm just gonna give it something that I think will work. So I wrote Apple Box, which is something that you stand on in film and entertainment to make you taller. So like when people are doing like the like the what do you call it, like the Hollywood photo shoots and stuff like that, they'll have Apple Boxes for the short folks so that when they stand next to their co-stars, they're like the same height. But it is something that's much less common today than it was even a couple years ago. I would say like 15 years ago there's an Apple Box in every movie cart, and I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore. Just because it's just like if you see who's that particularly short black actor? I forgot his name. Kevin, or what is his name? Kevin Hart. Yes, thank you. Kevin, I think Kevin Hart's talked about how offensive it is to offer him an Apple cart or an Apple Box. You know what I mean? Because he's known for being that tiny of a man, and it's like it's almost like his trademark. You know what I mean? Uh, and so you give that man an Apple Box, and it's like, oh wow, you just offended the living crap out of him. Oh, this is too cute. Bogan. Very cute. Comic panels, 1v1 battle for my troll for you. Yeah, and this is also going to be an example of where the aspect ratio distortion will be cool. Like you'll get some cool effects on there, but will it match your intent? Probably not. And the reason is the stretch is too high. So like if I come into here and go from, instead of 1-3, I'll switch it to 2-3. Okay. Keep the zoom at 1, but I'm also going to drop the style by 10, to 10. And we'll see what sort of result we get out of that. I am loving all these Veronicas, and I'm getting so distracted from what I need to do because I started the comic panel stage, and everyone usually goes nuts for this stage. So, which is great, just great. Look at how badass this guy's face looks. Right. Okay. Very common to have like random, overly detailed things when the style is either default or really high. All right, so you can see here that we definitely lost our panels though on this one, so I'm going to stretch it back out again. Let's go for, instead of 1-3 or 2-3, we're going to do 2-5. which is smaller than 1-3. Oh yeah, she's got some sass to her in this one. This is great. All right, I'm gonna get a drink in me, and I'll be back in about 30 seconds, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. How's everybody doing today? Like, oh, there I am. I'm on the stage. I'm famous. I'm on the Victor Nally show. Yay. So what's everybody creating lately? Anybody making any cool characters? Anybody doing anything neat with Midjourney? Because I want to know about all of it. I am largely greedy, and I want to know everything that you guys are doing because you guys all interest me a lot. I don't know if you knew that about me. What?
I have been, but I can only tease it, not share it.
Oh, is it stuff that I know about too?
Yes. David
Okay.
mentioned it in office hours this week, so I can actually mention that it's CRF.
Yes. It's pretty cool. I'm definitely enjoying it. I did a lot with Bradley, my son, and like I woke up at 2 in the morning and I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, oh, I'll test this feature, and then I thought that I couldn't do it, but I could, and I like it, and I think you guys are gonna like it.
It has some very interesting results if you use images that aren't characters.
I haven't tried that yet.
Characters.
I have not tried that yet. I did use photos and like that weren't originated from, and that did really well with those on that. I guess that's really as far as I can say.
Yeah.
Ooh, Getter's like, yeah, thank you.
I guess I can say that I've found that it can reliably catboy non-cat boys.
Oh, it's a catboyizer. Wait, I don't know if I like the way that sounded. Catboyification. Guys, what's the word that we're looking for? Catify. Gives them catitude. Oh, what a catastrophe.
Can't see a CRF result yet. If I could share, I would.
Believe me.
I'm way too tall.
I know this is probably how we'd be in real life too, I imagine.
I
am not a tall girl.
Okay. I'm hold on. Let me recalibrate my camera because it makes it way too tall.
You can get me off the stage. I'm having a day, so I'll be off mic.
See you later. Bye. Bye. And nope. Whoops. What? That gag ruined that gag. Okay.
I am out of control. I'm sorry. I'm just going wild.
Just wild. There we go. Okay. Not as tall anymore. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you so much for waiting. Annoyingly, when I went down to get a drink, I also had the doorbell ring on me, and I had to answer some guy and tell him to leave. It's solicitor. All right. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. I'm just gonna read the text chat really quick. Short girls, woo! Yeah. No. My wife is really tiny. She's yeah, she's like 5'1", or so. She's what do you call it? Like it's just it leans a little average, shorter than average. Let's see. Soon I can be two on the stage. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So let's see if we look at what we did so far. I need to kind of get my head back in focus. Yes, Bill. Good job. That looks awesome. Yeah, it's sick. I love that.
Pretty
The
fast there, lady.
yeah, right. And this like chibi version of her is so cool, Lizzie. That's
Mhm.
so fun. It's got the right balance of big boots and big head. You know what I mean? Like it's a little more fun. And I think that pattern would actually work well for making it continuous. So like if you expanded that one out, it would work well. But okay, cool. And I love seeing you guys exploring these comics, but you could see the result of the higher styles. So even going up to 250, you start to lose some aspects of like even like the darker contrasts of the original image here. You can inpaint her back into this, right? You know, like we have some poses of her. We don't have her completed sheet yet, so we can't do this yet. But you can inpaint her back into this if you really, really love this shot, right? Um, and you know, we could do that with just the 4 images we having probably make something good enough. But what we really need to do now, since I've taken my time and started pulling out a bunch of the poses that you guys have come up with here, what we got to do is we got to slam these all into that character sheet, so not the comics here. Okay. So we'll go through and open up the tablet here. Okay. So uh, I have, yeah, we have her here. Oh, that's right. I was looking at this one. So we have this pose from her here. I'm going to make the canvas much bigger because we're going to be including a lot more poses from here. You won't be using all of them, keep in mind. You're just using the ones that you're going to need to get a diverse character prompt. Just something that's interesting on each pose. So you know, even the differences between the back of this and the back of this is diverse enough to do. But you'll notice that we have diverged a lot in terms of the boots, in terms of, so we need to find our middle zone, like what our middle ground on all the designs that we're going to be pulling in here, and then repair them as needed to kind of compensate for any differences that MJ would have thrown at us. So I'm just copying and pasting all of our results, and we'll be getting rid of the duplicates, particularly the little center image in the middle. And we are going to build a little bit of a pose chart, but also a little bit of expression sheet as well, just so we get a little more diversity in that regard. Pasting just all the images in there first, and then I'll organize it here. Believe we did select one of these at one point, but it's fine that I don't have one selected necessarily. That's right. We were picking between the arms, and they're all kind of bendy. This is the fourth one that we wanted. So I'm going to just copy this 4 sheet, paste it, and then because I already know that I only want that bottom right, I'm just going to already delete these ones. I love how grumpy she is on the right side here. Love that. She's so frumpy. Okay, yeah, so we already did select this one. That's okay. And then this one, for now, will be the last one, I guess. Gothic Dora. What is she going to explore? Please don't make it lewd. Just
Just Dora the Explorer. I'm trying to think what the goth equivalent to that would be. So I'm just separating all these sheets out so that they're a little easier to read. Exploring piercings. Exploring the night. Blah. Okay. A little more organized now. So we can kind of compare the like all the diversity that we got amongst all the results here. So we really do want to only focus on one that is as close as possible to kind of be the base here. And what I'm noticing with these is that, we lost the dress pattern in a lot of them, which is fine. We don't necessarily need that. I didn't end up even going with those at all in my version of this, right? You see all these poses that are here. The reason why we're doing this is because the poses I came up with are insufficient. They gave me results that give me Veronica with her arms locked at her hips and whatnot the whole time. That's not going to happen anymore as soon as we combine a couple of these poses. But my favorite out of all these has to be this one, because it just gives us the most amount of diversity for her arms being away from her body. So if I mix these in with these up here, then we are far more likely to get diverse imagery. But let's go ahead and start deleting the extras, like anything that we know that we either do not want or is a duplicate. So that will be every center image. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the ones that are kind of crouched down like this because it's just kind of an awkward pose. We'll keep that one. And it's always a little bit easier to just come in, select like this, and copy, delete, and then paste. Because what that's going to do is it's going to make a dedicated layer just for that one image. So then you can more easily separate them out so you can select them later. Because that's what these character sheets are really for, is both for the person, like it's both for Midjourney, right? But it's also for you. There's this really weird assumption that people have about artists, particularly cartoonists, which is that they have like a photographic memory of their own characters, and by sheer habit, you do. Like you have a like a technique. You have almost like a memory by hand, right? But you do not. You should not feel any shame about not remembering or not realizing like a better way to do something, or how you've been doing it is slightly wrong, or whatever. It's the only thing that's really important is that you're right. That like that the aesthetic is there, that your choices are shining through, where you clearly are knowledgeable of the what is it of the rules, so that you know where to bend them and where to break them. Okay. Because that's how you're self-defined. Like that's how you establish an identity within um, really any arts at all. Is you have to know how to do it right before you can bend the rules without breaking them, and then you know how to do it great when you can break the rules or make new rules because you broke them. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a an interesting thing when you talk about the expectation of what people want versus the reality of like what it takes to make these things. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I go out of my way and I want to make something that's super relatable, guess what? Midjourney is actually really great at doing that because it's designed at making something in the middle of the median, or like, it's and this is not a dig at Midjourney at all, but it AI like image generations all find the medians of stuff, so therefore they're essentially the most mediocre possible result
technically, like on a median of gravity wells of giant potentiality, you tend to lean towards results that people like, that are relatable or whatever. That the AI bias has this problem a lot when it comes to like, we're almost always going to get these kind of like pretty girl results, right? Unless we ask it to not do this, unless we ask her to have flaws, unless we ask her to to be a rounded individual with problems. You know what I mean? Midjourney's not going to assume really that at all. You're going to have to inject that in there. And this is really where the assumption of the artist kind of falls apart when it comes to AI, because it's like, if you have the same faith as you do in the pen that you're holding, as you do with AI, like an AI tool like Midjourney, you'll make a better image than anyone than the average consumer will. Period. Like that's like your real world skills certainly do transfer over to generated imagery, and it's going to take time for people to kind of see that and realize it, and then it's going to take even more time for the public to be able to see what is or what isn't generated. And I do think it's an education problem. I don't think it's a misinformation problem necessarily. You fix the misinformation with education. But for now anyway, we're in a fog of confusion, which is why my comic series focused so much on fog for the first season, or the first couple runs of the comic, because like I knew this was coming. I knew that there was going to be a period of time where nobody trusted anything because they felt like they couldn't tell what was real or what wasn't anymore. And I think that will go away over time, just because, not because the technology gets worse or censored or anything, maybe it will, but more for the fact that our expectations will be different. Our expectation of, oh, an artist produced this in less than a day. They, like maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I would understand if they did because of how fast they made it. Or more importantly, how much does it not match what they normally make? You know what I mean? Like things like that. I'm sure that as this becomes more acceptable in terms of like as being a tool, right? We're going to see more nuance in terms of the debate around this stuff, which is nice. I really do want to get that nuance in, because right now it's kind of a bit of a dead horse, which is what the entire focus of the Bay Rate comic was. I had no idea when I pitched that comic to him whether or not he would find that joke funny. I'm glad he did, but it is one of those like kind of gambling things where I was like, I am literally drawing you violently beating a dead horse. Are you cool with this? And I gave him two options. I gave him one where the horse is like really tiny and we're just kind of poking it, right, with the baseball bats. And then I gave him one where we're like violently hitting it, like we're breaking bones and things like that. And he was like, "Oh yeah, no, go with the breaking bones one." And I'm like, "Okay." So, it was a mutual decision to beat that dead horse. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of these expressions that we have here as well. Because I do feel like these ones here are so off model, even though I do like the poses, don't get me wrong. They're so off model, it's going to cause confusion, particularly things like the bottom of this dress and the color of the dress changing. That will cause problems. And the skirt length will definitely cause issues. With this one, it's fun. Don't get me wrong, it's really fun. But I do think that outside of the, like, it's a little too lacy. It's got a little too much flutter in the dress itself, because it's clearly a layered thing. I will say, if you pay attention to fashion and stuff at all, you're probably going to be way better at this stage than most people, because they just don't see that stuff. I was amazed at how often people just do not see continuity. Like they don't see the differences between two pictures. Like they need to play more Where's Waldo before they get into all this stuff. But for now, I'm taking out all the ground planes. I am trying my best to do this in a bit of an entertaining way anyway by talking to you guys. But it's easily the most boring stage is the cleanup stage. So I hope by announcing that doesn't instantly boot off. Yeah, look at that. Look, 5 people just fell off. Yeah, so I really got to stop mentioning when the boring parts are coming up. That's really what I got to do. But I'm just gonna take out any kind of thing that doesn't match the character design, right? So that'd be like signatures or anything like that. And we're basically just going to finish up this pose chart, finish up the expression chart, and then we'll have everything we need to do injections. Because I'm getting the right level of like brattiness that I wanted from her, but also like I didn't want a brat's girl. Like I didn't want like a popular girl or anything like that. This is clearly somebody who maybe didn't grow up spoiled, right? But easily grew up like in a household that that just maybe prioritized one or two things about her. How can I explain this? Actually, shoot, this is a weird character trope thing. In terms of like people's upbringings and stuff, there's a lot you can infer, but like the nurture aspect of your characters, I always love exploring because it tends to speak more about the person who wrote it than the character itself. Let's see. To be true, I never thought about why you talk so much. I talk so much because I don't have an inner monologue.
Also, he's on a stage.
I am on a stage. It's kind of my gerb to do that. But I don't have an inner monologue. So I oftentimes put my foot in my mouth because I don't actually think about what I'm saying. I do on a liability aspect, but I really don't have a voice in my head telling me, how I shouldn't say things or anything like that. I'm very very outward with that. But no, I don't have an inner monologue. So like I'm oftentimes yammering out by myself anyway. Like a crazy person. So it's
Weirdly,
it's all good.
Weirdly, I was in a car with my friend going to New Hampshire this week, and I showed her this podcast about a kid that just found out that there's such a thing as people with no inner monologue. And I asked David on stage if he had an inner monologue. He said no. And there you are saying the same thing.
It gives us more time to think, from what I understand. In the sense that like we don't have these like conflicting voices, right? So it's like I can't imagine it. When I was growing up, okay, and I was watching like at least like after Cowboy Bebop and stuff like that, I started watching a bunch of other animes and stuff like that. And they would always have scenes where characters are like talking without their mouths moving, right? That was the most confusing thing for me growing up. I just thought that was a storytelling thing that they did. Like this, just something that that it's just something that you did in order to like a narrator, right? But nope. That's what having thoughts is like. And I'm like, whoa. So fun. All right, so let's go ahead and try to put this all together here. Bill said, I tried doing art jams and games on Twitch and found quickly that I don't talk enough to be interesting. I feel like you really need to have a stream of thought running to keep people interested. Yeah, I mean, the only advice I can really give you when it comes to the streaming stuff is one, take my advice with a grain of salt. I have like no stream. Yeah, thank you, Kiki. I appreciate that. I have very few streamers followers on that, but it's awesome if you guys can. But I just it at least for me, what helps a lot is screwing up a lot. It makes me have to explain what I'm doing way more often than when things go right. When things go right, it's actually a little more boring because it's more likely going to be that I am doing something that that is relatively robotic for me, which is kind of ironic given what we're doing. But the more robotic of an action that I'm doing, the less interesting I am, which is normal. Like that's what we should expect, right? But it's certainly true that I am I tend to work a lot better when people challenge me, when I have constraints, when I'm told, oh, you can't do this, as opposed to, oh, you can do whatever. I remember there was an artist, I shouldn't say artist, an actor, who told me like his worst nightmare was somebody hiring him for like a major motion picture kind of production and then telling him, all right, now you can do whatever you want with this character. And the and my another acting buddy of mine was like, are you kidding me? I love it
Rildo
when
the
that
Crafty
happens.
followed your channel.
Hey Rildo, thank you so much for following me on Twitch. I'm not even on there right now, but I appreciate that. Thank you for that. It still yells kitty on my end. It'll yell like a line from Monsters Inc. Whenever that happens on Twitch. You guys don't hear that here though, so at least I don't think you do. But yeah, let's finish this sheet up here because we're almost done. So I'm gonna get rid of this one, get rid of that one, and get rid of this one. Thank you for all those links, Kinky. And
Oh, no problem at all. I'd do it more, but you haven't mentioned anything today, so.
yeah, I'm
I
sorry
usually
about
wait
that.
until you say the word, and I'm like, let me link this, let me link that. Boom, boom, boom.
No, and it's amazing that you do that. It's more today. Like today, I'm so scatterbrained. Honestly,
Yeah.
I want to be better about it, but it is certainly true that I am a bit at the end of my wits for this week. I feel like and I still
Good
didn't
thing
get
it's
money.
over.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm so glad it's Friday. So glad. I hope you guys are glad it's Friday too, or at least I hope that it is your Friday at the very least.
Hey. Oh, it's Friday when I'm with you, Victor, even when it's my Monday.
You're sweet, Kinky. So I want to say this at this point. We're almost done here. The expression sheet. This sheet's actually kind of chaotic right now. So let me go ahead and just move this to the side here, and get these expressions over here. And I'll get these poses down here now. The idea is that we want to separate just enough space on these poses so that we can easily select them later, but we may not use them all. We want to have it as inspo for ourselves as well as inspo for Midjourney. So depending on the results, we might combine or lose a couple of these. But at least for now, this is going to be more than enough for us to slam them all together and get a result that's usable. I'll go with something like that. Let's go for that and that. And I think that's good enough for now. I could shrink this one down a bit, but we'll just keep it at the size. Ooh, there's one more. One sneaky little goth girl in the corner. Almost snuck away from me there. Okay. Let's we got all that. We're good. Okay, cool. So before we
Stove __ followed your
got
channel.
got another follow from Scove. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and select this and then drop that canvas down to here. We still have a little bit of room that we can like fill in a couple more poses, but we're more than fine with this. And now I'm filling this background with white because you're going to notice that not all the backgrounds are white on your on the results here. Tempted to unfollow you and refollow you just to hear you jump. Don't do that. Let's go ahead and just get all of the bad backgrounds out of these squares before we select them and drop them in the Midjourney. So we'll grab this. I have to make sure sample all layers is turned off. And just for the sake of getting this done quickly, I'm going to just use the magic tool here. Magic wand tool. It can be a little rough in terms of the actual final result you get with the magic wand tool. So you want to be very careful doing it, especially if you're this far zoomed out, right? I know that because the character is super dark, that it's going to be fine for the most part. But look at her neck here. If there's any break in this line at all, we would lose some of this detail. Also, the marquee is not perfect. You see, if I zoom in all the way down to the pixels, you're going to notice that the marquee here is not perfect either. You'll lose a little bit of image information. And in entertainment, if you lost almost any of these pixels here, you would potentially like, I wouldn't say you lose your job, but I would say that you would certainly screw up whatever project you're working on because you're losing valuable data that's on the edges of these on the edges of this. These kind of sheets are so amazing for segmenting and puppeting / animation. Oh yeah, no. Wait until I show you what I've been cooking up in the books, or sorry, not cooking the books. That's bad. What I've been cooking behind the scenes. I've got a complete run cycle done for Sage. That is really exciting because run cycles mean that we can get characters to to animate, and by getting them to animate in like dynamic ways, we can potentially like do proper 2D animation but much faster. Because it's certainly true that to do it normally is such a laborious process. Someone literally just followed me named A Jump Scare for You, and I don't think it's pinged me yet, so I got lucky with that one. Someone made a Twitch account just to spook me, and it didn't work. I am so sorry. I get. Yeah, it's probably ancient. You're probably right.
Now, why would I do something like that?
Why? You just want to hear me yelp. That's all. All right, almost done with this. Okay. So we have one more background here.
Certainly a Yelp you have.
I mostly want to emphasize here, though, that we do have one continuity issue that we should address in this, and it has everything to do with the color of the skin tone color. People ask me about color correction a lot. This will probably be the last thing we need to do before we actually see Veronica doing things more dynamic than hold her arms to her hips. But we need to make sure the color correction is done. Otherwise, she will always have some random median in between the two tones of her skin that is featured here. You can see these two tones kind of really well between these two poses here. One of them is more of a purple tone, and the other one has more of a natural skin tone to it. Okay. So I'm going to base it off of the original image of Veronica that we have. And you really do need two colors here. You need the shadow and you need the skin tone itself, right? In order to kind of cover our bases here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make a new layer, do a box select, like marquee, and then I'm going to select the light part of the skin, and then select the dark part of the skin, and make that the other half of this square, this swatch. The only thing this swatch is meant to do is to give me a color palette for the remaining poses. And you can essentially move the color palette over the character and see how off or right it is. And by using this kind of two-tone square here, we can easily put it here so we can compare the darks and the lights of the skin here. And we can see which ones are also very similar, like which ones have the most similar tones to each other. And we can kind of, if we want to take our time, we could group all these and do that. It seems like it's only these three that need to have the adjustment as well. So I'm going to move them over here. You know, even just that would probably, outside of just not having a back, would probably make a decent turnaround in itself. But what I'm going to do now is move the swatch out of the way. I'm going to grab all of these, make sure that I only have those selected. So I got to deselect this one. Okay, like that. Then I'm going to turn this into a group inside of Photoshop Beta here. And then make it a smart object. That's just so I have it saved as one like singular thing. Wait, what? Oops. Why did that not group at all? Okay, great. It just randomly made a group and it didn't actually put anything in the group. Hold on. Let's get that done. There we go. And I need to get rid of that bottom thing here. Put that way, way, way below. Okay. That's cool. Now that we have the swatch here, we have all this selected within a group. I can now make that a smart object. You'll see me using smart objects a lot because smart objects let me be able to edit and whatnot and still preserve like especially the scaling. Like if I rescale things, then I don't have to worry about losing resolution, losing that valuable image data. It's still there. It's just inside of another project technically. But what I'm going to do here is I'm actually duplicating that that group so that I have it saved. It's just saved inside of a smart object underneath it. And then I'm going to raster size the layer on top of it. The reason being is I need to have it rasterized so I can use the tool I'm going to use next. But if I screw anything up, like almost drop the F-bomb there. If I screw anything up, then I always have this group behind it to help me out in case I need to go back for any reason. So if we come up here and and then we're gonna just balance out these skin tones here really quick. But let's see, what do you say? Bill said, I missed the marching ants. Do you expand or feather when you grab a selection to keep all the pixels? Okay. So whenever I'm zooming in and I'm doing selections and stuff like that, and even I actually forgot some of the white space in here, but whenever I'm zooming in and I'm doing selections, what I'm always doing is I do use the magic wand tool quite a lot, but I drop the tolerance to like 5 or 10, right? And then I zoom in to confirm the distance away from whatever I'm trying to marquee. It could be 1 pixel, 2 pixels, or whatever. And then I go into select. So like, let's just say I do a selection of this eye here. I'll go into select and then modify. And modify lets us actually change how the marquee adjusts the selection itself. So like right now it's a solid square, 1 to 1 pixels or whatever. But if I say expand this square, then I can expand it by 10 pixels and it'll evenly expand that selection by 10. This also works for feathering. So if I get it like really close but not covering it up, and I see that it's 2 pixels away, then I'll feather it by 3 so that only the last row is affected of pixels, and that just gets me a much cleaner result. So I hope that answers that. But for now, what we're gonna do is I gotta get rid of this little bit of gray. You notice there's this little teeny bit of gray that's here. Gonna get rid of that. And now we're gonna start the color correction. Because I have this all in one layer, right? That means that if I fix one of them, the rest should, in theory, be close enough. But that's not true because it's generated imagery and everything kind of shifts hues in weird ways. But we can get 98% of our work done just by merging the ones that have the same like skin tone or tonality. The tonality is similar. So now I can go to adjustments, replace color. I can select the light and like the light part of the skin tone here, and then start adjusting for that result here. Usually I'm mostly adjusting saturation and hue to compensate for this sort of thing here. But we want to also make sure our fuzziness is dropped, and fuzziness is going to be just how aggressive it is at changing that color. So I'm going to now crank up the lightness till about here, and it's a little more pink than the skin that we have right now. And I just do color swatching. I literally just look at it by eye and get close enough. There is a better way to do this, the more accurate way. Like that's good. That's good here. The skin tones are close enough for here. But there's a better way to do this that's more accurate. And it involves using the Lumetri curve. It's more common in After Effects and other programs, but you can essentially, whenever you hover over a color, you know what those hue values are, like what the RGB values are. You can copy and paste those values and put them into the replace and get them to match. But you can notice that out of the darker one here, it just needs to be a little darker, just a little bit. So if I now replace color here, if I work with the same fuzziness, it's going to potentially affect the skin tone too. So I'm going to just drop that a little bit more. And then I'm just going to confirm that the colors are as bright. There we go. That's about right. And now if I turn this on and off, I can kind of see the effect here. It's so subtle, right? But that's the kind of stuff we need to do to make sure that we get results we're expecting. So now when I'm looking at the rest of these skin tones, like it's way more on the money than it was earlier. So I'll leave the little swatch here underneath Veronica's name, just because it's actually quite useful to have, honestly. Just having that little layer there just ready to go. It's really useful for making tweaks and changes. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then we basically just select each pose that we want and then merge them together to make Veronica dance around and stuff. So I'm going to focus on all the standing poses, and we'll worry on the expressions next time. So I will go ahead and start grabbing these poses here. And then we're going to hop back into Midjourney. Boom. And basically check out all the stuff that you guys have been doing here in a minute. Wow, it's so much stuff. You guys have been really knocking it out of the park with these comics. Oh my god. It's Veronica. It's Veronica standing outside of a church. And
I've been doing a ton of stuff.
I know. I've been, like I said,
talking to you with my mic on mute. So.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm sorry. And I'm also noticing that my video is lagging really hard, so I might need to pause the stream here in a minute. But I just want to show you guys. I'm just gonna kind of slam through this part really quick. So basically, what I'm seeing here is we have about a dozen poses that we need to paste in here. So just a second. Oh wow. Well, the audience jumped up here. How are you all doing? How's it going? It's
probably
good
because I set the daily theme.
Oh yeah. What did you set it to?
Minimalist single line sketch.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Hi everybody. How you all doing? If you're new here,
You
I'm
guys should
Victor.
be in here. Yeah, you guys should all be in here, even if he didn't set the daily theme, because you'd have a great time.
I want to see you guys making comics with me. That's what we do here. We make original characters and then we develop comics with those characters. I have it's a fun place. I do want to make a silly place joke eventually, like do a Holy Grail reference. But for now, this is fine. I'm really down with all these goth girls we've been rocking with today. Today is big booted goth girls. That's that's the theme for
Girl, I can't
big
wait.
booted. Yeah, right, exactly. And that's what we're kind of aiming for when it comes to Veronica here. But keep in mind that wasn't the original intention of her. It was she had real small feet, and I had a lot of trouble. I had a lot of trouble making her feet petite, right? And it was way easier to just start off from scratch with a character that had petite feet. But oh man, it just became a thing about making big feet here. So we're gonna just keep going with that. Okay. All right. So I've maxed out my uploads for this one post. That's fine. I'm just going to submit this and then repost it again. Okay. So we have mostly like Veronica poses. Let's grab this last one here. I forgot this one. And what we're gonna and what we're gonna build here is a character prompt. We're essentially gonna take everything that we had done earlier, slam that in with this, and see what we get. So first thing I do is I'm going to open up all these links in my web browser, making sure I do not open up any duplicates because Midjourney does not like duplicate images. So we're gonna go ahead and copy each one. I love what you're doing, Nitro, for you. It's going to be so cool to see what you come up with after this because you're really locking into the into that meta that works for Midjourney comics, right? Which is I found something cool and I want to keep exploring it with the character. Like it's not a matter of going, oh, okay, I have this hard locked story in my head or whatever. I think I just skipped. Yeah, just that exactly. Yeah, rabbit holing. I like that. Shoot, I think I forgot a pose. I'm just gonna restart this really quick. Shouldn't take long. Sorry. One.
Hey, while he does that, I wanna do something real quick.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
So don't forget that on. Hold on. Let me see my screen. Am I my screen on?
No, I can see your screen. Yeah.
Can you see my screen? Awesome. Just don't forget that on Saturday and Sunday we have prompt battles, and we are going to, have a great time, and we hope you all show up. And I didn't want to take over the end of Victor's stream, but I did want to mention it to you. So I hope you all come by. It's 16 hours. It's really hard to miss it if you want to be there. And I hope you guys have a great day. Until then.
Awesome. And it is a real commitment. Like that's a long day.
Yes.
All right. Let's yeah, and prompt battles is great just to learn, like you see so much cool stuff that people do.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Very,
hope I
very
get
interesting.
right. And I think my favorite that people at least my favorite prompt that I learned from other people was Hieronymus Bosch. That was one that I learned very early on from Midjourney community, and it made me realize the value of Midjourney, which is like I forgot about that artist, and I realized like I could have anything merged with his stuff, and it just kind of blew my mind when it came to the the paintings of his falling into hell particularly are really inspiring for Midjourney imagery. So yeah, I would recommend messing around with Hieronymus Bosch. Let's submit this. Making sure I didn't put any duplicate links. You'll notice there's a couple of quirks when it comes to submitting original poses for your character. The most common one is the image filters getting in the way. You know you're fine when you get a result back for all your images. If you get a result that's like, yeah, this cannot be processed, the devs have been not notified. You know what I mean? If you go to the alpha website, you'll see the images that were blocked by the filter just don't show up. And so it's way better, at least for confirming whether or not links work without having to upload anything like this, is to use the alpha site. So take a look at this. All right, so we still have amazingly we still have her arms all cross-armed and like angry, right? Which is makes sense. We have poses of that. But now we need to weight balance this so that we remove the most common aspects of this result. So look at what is the same about all four of these images. Okay, she has her arms crossed, yes, but her dress is also fluttered up and her knee is kind of picked up and forward. That means that we might have duplicate images that feature these elements. So we have two choices here. We could either delete the redundancies, any ones that are too redundant of those poses, or we can actually open each one up and find each one where her arms are crossed like this, okay? And I am going to put a weight on those at 0.05, just lowering the weight of that image, okay? So for now, I'm just going to copy all the links here. And we are going to do a quick weight balance of this prompt here. And what this is going to do is it means that if you're using V5, you're going to, if you're just using image weights, you're not going to be happy with this because this is going to make you not be able to use the overall image weight command or parameter because we're individually weighting the images. But the results we get out of weighting the images means a lot more reliable results when it comes to trying to get your character to do something. It's just you get diversity, but you get the diversity you want. That's really to summarize it. So now that I have these all in kind of a linear thing, I know that the second image had crossed arms, so I'm going to lower the weight of that second image. Let's check the third one. No crossed arms. Fourth one. Crossed arms. Okay. 0.5. Let's check the fifth one. Crossed arms. So you could see the kind of patterns that we're trying to avoid. And those arms are closed, but they're not crossed. All right. This one needs that one as well. So we got a ton of extra crossed arm poses. We probably don't need them all. That's probably what's going to be causing this the most. But for now, let's check on the last couple ones we have here. I think we already did that one. Let's confirm that. Oops. No, I screwed up. No. Oh God. Everything's breaking. Okay.
What did you do?
I accidentally closed the damn Discord window and it caused a bunch of stupid nonsense.
No, I thought you must have linked a Discord in the chat, and I was like,
No.
no.
No, I have to use my damn phone now to click on this stupid thing and like
Yeah.
look at this. It's so cool to see. And you're doing this, by the way, you're doing this mostly with just those 3 images of Veronica that we had earlier. You're gonna do so much more as soon as we have this properly weight balanced. But because I was dumb and I clicked the thing off or whatever, sadly, that means that all that my weight balancing of the cross arms went away as well. But it's okay. It's okay. What I'm gonna do is I am going to just go through these images very, very fast, and just get rid of the ones that are cross armed, so that we don't have to worry about this weight balancing right now. Because I do feel like we're kind of getting towards the end of the stream here, and I don't want to keep you guys all waiting.
What do you mean waiting until next week? Because with bated breath, like we're gonna be.
Yeah, and I just did it again. So yeah, no, I think this is probably a good time for me to call it. Honestly, I'm screwing up with the same crap again and again. But basically, when it comes to like weight balancing, right? Good night. Yeah, the when it comes to weight balancing, I find it to be quite important to what is it, to find the exact poses that are causing you troubles, and don't necessarily delete them like I'm doing here, but to weight balance them kind of evenly lower. So like if there's a bunch of them with crossed arms, then you probably want them all to be lower numbers than just 0.5. But if you only have one of them that seems to be kind of dominating your results for some weird reason, you can just lower that result and like just a little bit, and it will probably have much less of an effect than you think. And the reason why that is because the scaling isn't necessarily even with a lot of stuff that we deal with here. Let's get rid of this one here. I know there's some really great facial poses in some of the cross arms, but for now I'm just gonna get rid of that and then go from there. Thank you so much for joining, Getters. I'm sorry I'm putting you to sleep a little bit. I know you didn't mean it like that, but I appreciate you you coming and hanging out, man. That's really cool.
Getters is in Scotland. He's already fallen asleep by the time he gets here.
Yeah. It's all good. So yeah, weights. Is that how you come up with the image weights? Interesting. Yes. So I come up with the image weights by looking at arbitrary aspects of the character, and then going, okay, these between the 4 images, they are way too repetitive about certain details. So check out what we get afterward. Now, granted, I'm not weight balancing the arms out from cross arm, but it's effectively the same thing by deleting them. I just have less unique poses that are coming out now because I deleted the cross armed ones. So you can see her arms are no longer crossed, right? So that also means that I can now take the original 3 images that we have for Veronica here, and if I wanted to, I could come in, post those in the front of that. And if we're like, okay, yes, that those images of Veronica are like they're essential for like for the character. Like for example, like say we're working with an artist or we're working with somebody and we want to, and they give us an artwork and they go, this is the character, but all your poses are slightly off, like maybe it just doesn't feature something there. You can actually come in here, paste those, the links from the main reference, and you can just weight those up a little bit extra. So let's do like a 2 on those. And the thing is the negative with this is her arms are going to be probably more straight down. But the positive is that she is more likely going to be looking like we have her in the original image. So balancing it is all about finding that middle ground that makes you happy. And you'll know you go too far when there's too many broken ankles and knees and arms that don't work right. That's when you go a little too far. So chaos is very helpful there. Not the ancient one, but the C chaos thinking one. Does the C invoke a bit of chaos personality in MJ? Basically conjuring him as the machine could be interesting comic idea. Oh yeah, for sure. And see, just like I predicted, her arms are more straight, right? Because we're dominating the results, so at least a little bit, with our original images and kind of going back to the original setup that we had. So if I now go 1, 1, 1, 1 here, and then I set the others like just to one like arbitrarily, let's find one that's super unique just to kind of emphasize my point here. Let's do maybe this one. Let's confirm that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, she's sitting on the ground with this one. Okay. Yeah. OFMJ. Okay. So she's sitting on the ground with this one. We're going to set this one to 5. And the rest are set to 1 or nothing. I believe the default's 1, but it could be 0.5. I forgot what the default value is on image weights. But by setting one of the poses arbitrarily higher than the rest, then what's going to happen is it'll heavily lean towards whichever one we want the image weight on. But the reality is that we are more dealing with the medians of all the others, and then one of them is just stronger than the other. So like we still get plenty of effect from the other images that are in there. And now look at this. So her arms are still straight, but she now has more character to how her hip is moving. And yes, it's not her sitting yet, but if I wanted to, I could now set this up to 50. And it is insanely over heavy. Like it over heavy to the point where we may start to see some Cronenbergisms happening here. But because I do like these poses and the arms aren't too weird, her face is kind of even in all of them now. Like we need a little more diversity in the faces that are included inside this character prompt. But what I can do now is come up to here, select on I Troll for Use comic, go to Vary Region, and I'm going to run a repair. So I first paste all the image links. I run an sref, paste all the image links again, set the source weight to 1,000, set the style to let's do a low style at first. So I'm going to say 10, and then I am just going to select like just this face, like just see what we get off of this face, because it is a little how can I say, it's a little brighter than the rest of the faces here. So let's go ahead and select that and just submit it in. Oops, I gotta switch this to Niji 5. Sorry, Niji 6, because he has been working with Niji 5, which does great comic expansions like this. But it oh, look at this. All right. Setting it to 50, look at that. Not only do we get her in the pose that we had when she's sitting down, but it's a cleaner version of that pose. Okay? And the reason why that is because it has all the other images to refer on to kind of fill in gaps and figure shit out. So sorry, I didn't mean to curse there, but yes, to figure all this stuff out. So yeah, very cool. I don't know. Whoa, it's like a Minecraft. It's like a non-human retro futurist. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of contradictory prompts in there, and that will do some wacky stuff, and that's fun. Yeah. All right, about to get the result here, and there we go. Let's take a look. And now we have Veronica's face, at least mostly. Veronica's face in different poses looking around the room, and because the style is set really low, there's going to be a lot of influence from our from the world around it, right? From the imagery that's here. So it just helps to know when to adjust your styles in order to get the result you want. Essentially the more creativity you want Midjourney to have to fix and glue things together, the higher that number is. But eventually it'll fail at gluing at all. It'll just delete things if you go too high. So there you go. That's it. That's essentially how you do character prompting. It's 7:30. We started the stream around 4. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. So much fun to make this stuff with you guys. But what I'm gonna do, but also probably what Rhapsody's gonna do too, is join my Discord, and we're gonna have a little after show, the show after the show. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Rhapsody. The show after the show on the Movie Machine Discord. We're almost at 1,000 members, and when we hit 1,000, we are going to be opening a isekai channel, which is a fantasy specific prompting channel for your characters. So essentially, it's a place to shoot lightning bolts at each other. And I hope to see you guys come. It'll also be the place where you can come and say hey, like on stage, like we're just in a group chat. So you just click that button right there inside the text chat here. Click that join button. And then yeah, awesome guys. I'm so excited to be able to do this because whatever happens in the Isekai channel, it's going to be seen by 8 professional artists, like people with working industry credits to their name. And I have a couple fun people in that server already. I'm not going to just randomly name drop people, but I definitely appreciate it. We got some guys from okay.
Not?
Yeah. We got one of the Lord of the Ring guys in there. We got a couple. We got a Valve employee. We got a couple other people. I'm just not going to name names because it's just kind of I wouldn't want them doing that with my name. So I get it. But we got some really fun people in here. Come on in. Come say hey. It's where you can talk to me. And voice your opinions and I'll give you mine. I promise you I'll give you mine. But yeah, thanks. Come to the after show, and if there's any last closing messages you got, Kinky, feel free to give them.
Just come on down to the prompt battles tonight or tomorrow morning, and it would be starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, goes till 10 p.m. And then on Sunday we have one that goes from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. But if you look at the event calendar, you'll see that it is already written in your time so that you'll know whether you can attend or not. And here's that now that my timeout of posting has ended and I can post again. And I hope that you all show up because it's a great time. You'll love it. Everybody's really nice. And you don't have to talk, even if it's in a voice chat. You can type. A lot of people do.
Well, thank you so much for that, Kinky, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I know I will. I am definitely going to be hanging out with you guys first, but then after that, I have a whole bunch of nothing planned for the weekend, and that's the first time I've had that in a long time. So I'm
Oh, I hope you enjoy that nothing so much.
I know I'm gonna enjoy all that nothing. You guys have a great. You'll have a great one. Okay, thank you so much for coming. This was super fun. See you next week.
And, everybody have a great day and bye.
Bye.